Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Knights of the Dawn podcast, where we talk about everything Brandon Mole. My name is Megan.
And I'm Jessica.
And today we'll be discussing chapters 6 through 10 of Book 5, Keys to the Demon Prison.
All right, this is going to be a fun section. Definitely a fun little...
Buckle up for another long episode. You probably already know, because...
A bit more...
You guys know how long it is before we do, I guess.
Fair enough.
Because we don't know how long this will be. I just assume it will be long.
Indeed. So, yeah, last section that we did was a lot more action-packed.
Yeah.
It's just like, you've got the gauntlet of challenges through the vault and trying to get through to the translocator. And now we have... It's more of like the introspective spy thriller part of it.
It's like lore dump after lore dump after lore dump.
Very needed lore dumps.
Yes. We're getting answers to questions we've had for like 4 or 5 books.
Exactly 4 books.
Yeah.
Quite
Shall we?
Star-studded cast as well. Like, pretty much anyone who's anyone is in this section of characters. Is in this section of book.
True. A certain character that we all love is about.
We have been waiting.
We don't show
earnestly.
About. All right, but first we start with Seth at Living Mirage.
Yeah, there's a lot of like interesting like mind. I don't know, because, like, Seth has this section, and then Kendra has her section, and, like, both of them are having, like, this mental, like, just mental moment where they're just needing to stop. I mean, Seth is not by choice, because he's trapped in a bottle.
Yeah, he's literally like a genie in a bottle.
And it's much less pleasing than Robin Williams would have led us to believe. Like, maybe he...
Give you such a crick in the neck.
Itty bitty living space.
Yeah.
Like, it's itty bitty living space, but, like, Seth is not even, like, conscious or, like, present most of the time.
It's like emptiness, basically, is how he describes it.
Yeah, Seth is having his mental episode, but he is
and
eventually...
all of a sudden...
And I'm just, like, picturing this scene. It's actually, like, kind of an intense scene when you think about it.
Yeah.
He's pulled out of the bottle, and he's, like, laying on his side, and he still has an arrow sticking out of his chest.
Yeah, he says his chest was aflame with agony. He literally still shot.
And he's looking up and seeing the Sphinx just looming over him with, like, I can imagine, like, a winning smile, I say, with, like, not even a winning smile, probably just a creepy... I've got you smile, like confidence, cocky, self-assured.
I don't even know, because it says the dark eyes of the Sphinx were looking down on him. The gaze of his enemy was warm and gentle, which is an interesting sentence. His enemy, but warm and gentle, because the Sphinx doesn't hate Seth. Like, he says that. He doesn't hate his enemies.
But, like, I'm just thinking of it from Seth's point of view. Just like
from Seth's point of view, he's like, crap, that's my number one enemy.
The utter helplessness of laying there dying.
He's in the power of the Sphinx.
And just knowing he can't do anything about it. Exactly. And I'm just like maybe those eyes are warm and gentle, but I don't think it's not feeling that way. It feels creepy as heck to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Well. The Sphinx uses the Sands of Sanctity to heal Seth, so.
And I also noticed that they kept this conspicuously PG by saying that, like, because the arrow is still sticking out of his back because he got shot in the back from behind by Tarina. And as he's pulled out of the bottle by Mirav, the wizard.
Miraz is Prince Caspian.
Yeah. Mirav also... vanishes the arrow, but it doesn't bleed. And I'm just like, that is conspicuously like PG, trying to keep the rating.
Oh, it is technically a kid's book if you were
like
being,
it specifically says Seth tries not to move to make sure it doesn't like worrying it's gonna start bleeding, and I'm like, okay, we just didn't want to get this like too gory, did we, Brandon? But Val, that's fair.
I mean, he already got shot through the back, like.
Yeah, honestly. I just found it funny.
He takes the Sands of Sanctity, the cat-shaped teapot, and pours all the dust on him, and he heals him. Oh, yeah. And they start talking.
I gotta ask, does Tarina at least get a little bit of a slap on the wrist for this? For shooting Seth in the back?
That's a good question, because surely the Sphinx did not want her to, like, kill Seth or Kendra. And so it makes you wonder...
It says he had rumors about Seth, because which is interesting because that reminds me. Gavin was the only one on the Sphinx's side who knew that Seth was a shadow charmer.
That's true.
And he didn't get out of Wormroost, so
that's true.
The Sphinx did not have confirmation that Seth was a shadow charmer until this moment when they start their conversation.
Yeah.
So I guess
you're right.
He couldn't get too pissed at Tarina because they didn't like. He's like, I like the kid, but now he's like, okay, now I want the kid.
Yeah.
I want my light and dark sandwich.
I want my apprentice maybe in the future.
I need my battery and my backup.
Yeah, basically.
Also known as Kendra and Seth, but that's not important. Yeah, Seth is just so uncomfortable throughout this entire conversation, and I am right there with him.
Well, it is really like, what can he's a prisoner. Like, he really can't do anything.
Yeah, and like every other sentence, the Sphinx is like, well done, Seth. I'm so proud of you. Well,
it is weird.
It's just...
It is uncomfortable.
I hate it.
Because he's trying so hard to pretend that he can still be his friend, and it's very manipulative.
But at the same time, I don't even think he's trying. It's because he actually sees himself as their friend.
I know, which is so... Okay.
He's got something loose. He's got some screws.
I guess at this point he's gloating.
He's
kind of gloating.
This is Thanos right before the snap, but when he's already sure that he's gonna win.
That's fair. Yeah. That's why I'm saying he's like gloating.
I love the way he describes all of it though. Like there's this one point where Seth's like, like why are we even talking? Like what is the point of this conversation? And the Sphinx says, when masters play chess, there often comes a point, sometimes many moves before checkmate, when the outcome is decided. Sometimes the inevitable loser will resign, sometimes the doomed participant will continue until the final move. But beyond that pivotal point, the drama is over. Is this your way of saying you've won? Seth asked. They're not dumb enough to trade everything for me. I am not yet claiming victory. Zizix is not yet open. I am saying I am well beyond the point where my victory is certain. Great metaphor.
That was a really banger quote, though.
Great metaphor.
Yeah. He likes to talk about chess and stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I'm honestly wondering at what point he felt like he had this in the bag.
That's a good question.
Can I have a suggestion?
Sure.
When Patton died.
When Patton died? I was like 50. Wait, what's math? 70 years ago. Because we know when he dies.
We do not know when he died. But, like, I just think, like, once his biggest rival, because let's be honest, nobody, like, Patton was the other chess master at this point.
Yeah, but Patton didn't really do anything against the society. Patton even says in his day the society wasn't really
But it
big.
Wasn't about the society.
He never even
it was
met
about
the Sphinx.
He did the most as out of everyone to prevent the opening of Zizix.
But a lot of people didn't even know what Patton did.
I think the
He
Sphinx
kept
did.
it. You think the Sphinx did?
At this point, he's gotta.
But when Patton was doing it, I don't think he would have known.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So I feel like a lot of the stuff that Patton did, he only found out about later.
Okay.
But still.
I revise then. I
feel like it's fairly recent.
Once the key once they have the instructions to get to the Wormroost key. Once Gavin passes along that information about where the key to the Obsidian Waste Vault is hidden, I think, because that was the only piece of information that the Sphinx was missing.
I feel like once they got the Oculus and they sent Gavin to go get the key.
Yeah, good call. Man, now I'm just imagining, like, the amount of input, like, just, like, the amount of, maybe input's not the right word, just info dumping that the Oculus must bring. Like, even for Sphinx, who is now able to comprehend, like, it still mentions with the Oculus, you can only focus on a certain area. Like, you can't comprehend everything all at once.
Yeah.
So I even wonder if he actually did find the key at Wormroost, or if he was just betting on them finding it.
I feel like he probably did.
I think you're right, because I think the sting bulb did say worm roost.
Yeah, the sting bulb did.
You're right, he did find. Yeah,
'Cause
once
remember,
he gets the Oculus.
we talked about that in the last book.
Once Kendra uses the Oculus and gives the Sphinx hope for using it without losing his mind, I think he feels like he's got it in the bag.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I think it's, once he is able to use the Oculus, he feels pretty dang confident.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Oculus gives you infinite knowledge, like you were just saying. Like, the only problem is processing it.
Thank you. That's the word. Processing.
Yeah. I feel like that's when he was like, yeah, I got this in the bag. Because he already had 3 artifacts, as we find out, that... Well, let's just get into the Sphinx's background, because this is what...
super intriguing.
This is what he says, that he is mortal, a mortal man whose life has been extended
by
magic. And we find out that he lived and grew up in Living Mirage, and that he was a slave there, which is horrible, first of all.
Yeah. Thousands of years ago, does he say, or is it just hundreds?
Hundreds of years ago. It should be hundreds, I think. And we find out that he has this Living Mirage is the last 5th secret preserve, and he has the artifact
already
that is from there.
The fact that it was the first one he discovered, and it even says many lifetimes ago.
Yeah, and the artifact is called the Font of Immortality. And if you drink from it once a week, as long as you continue to drink from it once a week, your life is extended indefinitely. And yeah, that was the first one that he got. So there's the answer to that question. Where was the 5th secret preserve and whether he had the artifact?
You got it.
It's literally his home, so.
Yeah. And so maybe the rest of the world is under the impression, like, well, until the 5th one is found, we still have a chance. And they're like, he's just like, no.
Yeah. Which is what added to his confidence, because everyone is desperate to find out where the last secret preserve is and get the last artifact, and he's had it in the bag forever.
Again, it's
really frustrating.
This man is playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers.
I mean, that's why he uses chess metaphors.
Indeed. And I repeat, I'm pretty sure Patton was the only other person who was even remotely close to being his opponent.
Yeah, Patton is the only one that made it more difficult.
Yes. By
moving all the other artifacts.
And we'll mention that later.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just like, dang it, I knew I should have moved that one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so another thing we learn is that the Sphinx has been mentored by Nagi Luna, and she's the one that helped him like figure out the Oculus, and through her he became a shadow charmer.
And so that's really why he's now like, oh, I now have an apprentice. And Seth's like, no, you don't. And he's like, yes, no, I do. Did we also mention that the Font of Immortality is made of a unicorn horn?
No, I didn't.
All right. So really quick, the Sphinx mentions that the goblet of the font itself is made from a unicorn horn. And not just any unicorn horn, it is the 3rd and final horn of a unicorn. We mentioned that the first horn was used to get into Worm Roost. It acts as the key, whereas the font is even larger because it is the 3rd and mature horn.
Yeah.
So it's the adult tooth, whereas the first tooth was the baby tooth.
Yeah, it's the most powerful of the 3.
Indeed.
And so obviously that's why it can be used as an artifact. There's just so much that we learn about the Sphinx and all of this. It's crazy.
Yeah, you weren't kidding. It's a lore dump and a half.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. And yeah, the fact that the Sphinx is being so completely frank and honest during this conversation is one of the most off-putting things. Like, he's like, it's nice to get some of this off my chest. Like, he's even amused to the point where Seth's like, well, what if you're lying? And he's like, I've been guarding these secrets for so long. The fact that you're now not choosing to believe is comical.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what? That's kind of funny.
He's literally like, I have no motive to lie anymore.
Like, I've made it, like, I've won. Why would I even worry about it?
And this is where it feels a little gloaty to me. It's not so that much that he can rub his face in it. It's more that, like, he's so sure of his, like, winning that he just, like, it's not like he's flippant with the information, but he doesn't mind giving out more than maybe he would or ever has before.
You know what this also reminds me of? You know that scene in Avengers Age of Ultron when Ultron has captured Natasha? And,
yeah.
like, he's just, like, I hoped you would wake up. I wasn't sure if you would. I don't have anyone else to talk to. Because, I mean, which is different because he's, like, he's a homicidal AI robot.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels like that. He's being super honest because he has this person who's a prisoner who he respects. And he's just like, let's just have a chat where I can assert my authority because A, you're my prisoner. B, I know I've won. But I just wouldn't mind talking to someone, especially because now Seth is a shadow charmer and Sphinx mentions we might be the only 2 left in the world.
Yeah.
So, cool. But anyways, getting back on with the Sphinx's history.
Seth does deserve the respect because he's
Valid.
done so much over the past few books that the Sphinx knows not to underestimate him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
very true, very true.
but yeah, the Sphinx talks about his past. He says that he grew up on this preserve. He was a slave. He was a very bright child and was obedient to his masters, but he obviously, wanted a way out of his terrible life,
Yeah.
fair.
Very valid.
Yeah. This line is crazy. He says, "What my masters did not know, what other slaves could not guess, was that I was the most dangerous person at living Mirage. Deep down, beneath the pleasant demeanor and quiet competence, in the invisible self that nobody knew, I was a rebel to the very center. Furious, ambitious, vengeful. But I was a patient rebel. I watched, I listened, I learned, I plotted. I did not want to rebel in some symbolic way. I had no interest in a futile act of defiance that would lead to my destruction. I wanted to turn the tables on my captors. I craved victory." And the Sphinx can put on a persona of patience and wisdom, humility, all he wants. But he's showing his real self of he will do anything it takes to get his goal.
And I think that in of itself discredits what he says later on. Because later on he mentions how he's trying to open Zizix so that he can ensure that the end of the world doesn't happen. He's confident that he can open this prison in a way that will ensure that the world does not end. Mm-hmm. And I believe that he fully believes that for himself.
He believes that.
I believe that he believes that. But this right here tells me that is not 100% genuine. Because at the end of the day, he is a bitter person who got hurt and has spent the entire part of his life trying to now be the person on top. He is not trying to open Zizix for the goal of trying to prevent the end of the world. It's not for some benevolent reason.
He's also kind of like Thanos. And Thanos
he
is
just wants
sacrifice half the population so the other half can live,
And he
doing it for the greater good.
He's trying to set up a pyramid and he's trying to put himself on top. He doesn't care about he doesn't care about making sure that the world is in a good spot. He doesn't care about making sure that the magical creatures from the preserves are released. He just wants to make sure that he is the ultimate power in the universe, and that in his mind only happens if he's the one in control of the demons from Zizix.
Yeah. He's had hundreds of years of control and authority. He's not ready to give it up to the demons because they're about to come out either way, and he wants to be in control, just like what you're saying.
He wants to control the dam breaking.
And he also doesn't care about the consequences of his actions to get to that power. He never has.
But yeah, he does not care one iota. He tries to pretend, and I think on some level he does like Seth and Kendra.
Yeah. I think
or at least he's intrigued by them.
He does care-ish about the world enough that he doesn't want it destroyed.
Because he wants to rule it.
But he wants to rule it, exactly. That's why. He wants to be in charge.
He cares like he'd care about a pile of gold. He wants to own it, but he doesn't think it has feelings.
Yeah. And he talks about his partnership or apprenticeship, whatever, with Nagi Luna. So Nagi Luna is, it says, she's in a quiet box in the bottommost cell of the dungeon, a room only accessible through a hatch in the ceiling, and only the chief jailer and head caretaker had a key that he could open it. So he had to, like, scheme his way in, basically, to, like, first interact with Nagi Luna.
This man is a psychopath.
It's kind of crazy, actually.
Like, the cold, detached way he talks about this story
Yeah.
is... Like, he leaves 2 dead bodies behind as a child.
This is really all we need to know that he doesn't care
Maybe
who
not
gets hurt.
Yeah, maybe not a child, but still.
Oh, it was 2 people, though. Like,
still 2 people as... I'm going to say...
let's see.
a
It
teen,
was
or who
it was
the people
another
that-
slave, and it was
Fooney. His name was Fooney.
assistant jailer.
Yeah.
So first of all, they kill the assistant jailer, and then to get the keys to go to Nagi Luna, and then they go down to Nagi Luna, and he, like, sacrifices the slave, basically, right, or something like that.
He says he uses Fooney to take the jailer. Wait, is the jailer still alive?
Oh no, they put the jailer in the quiet box, don't they?
Yeah, because I think
yeah.
I think he's still alive.
Oh, I was thinking about the cover story. Sorry.
Yeah, the cover
I got
story is
confused.
that they kill him.
They
but
kill him. Yeah. So basically, he takes these. I don't even know.
Yeah, he knocked him out. That's what he did.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
knocks out the assistant, and he has Fooney go inside a ring of constraint. So like an
Yes.
extra ring, an extra barrier between Nagi Luna around the quiet box. Has the Fooney, the older slave, who is the one who was supposed to be punished by going through the down depths of the dungeon.
Yeah.
Has Fooney put the assistant in the into the quiet box, and then immediately Fooney, as Nagi Luna is released,
is taken over by Nagi Luna
and attacks the Sphinx. And, quote, although I was ready for such an eventuality, having retained the assistant jailer's truncheon, the vehemence of the assault nearly overwhelmed me. Fooney was smaller, thinner, and older, but he fought with inhuman strength and ferocity, heedless of injuries. By the time I had quelled the attack, he was unrecognizable. Seth proceeds to say gross. I feel like that warrants a bit stronger of a reaction, buddy.
Yeah. I guess he just doesn't know what I wouldn't know what else to say. You're standing in front of a guy who murdered another guy to the point that he's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that's awful.
And again, I do not think this guy is very old at this point, because this is like just very the
Sphinx?
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say late teens, if not earlier.
Probably late teens in order to have the strength to overcome, like, an adult. Even in, like, a more feeble adult, you know?
Yeah.
I'd probably say late teens, maybe early 20s at the most.
Well, isn't he described as being in like early to late 20s in book 2 when we first meet him?
I don't remember.
Because I know they said he was younger than they'd expected.
Yeah.
For
either way,
because,
he was pretty young when he first did this,
and it's just
but old enough to have like concocted his plan.
yeah. So yeah, you're right. But still, like, just ew, no, and no.
Oh yeah, he's evil
For sure.
He's just trying to pretend that he has good intentions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what he's always done.
True. Very well put. Very well put. So yeah, then we have Nagi Luna come out. And Seth, of course, being Seth, asks what she looks like.
Disgusting. Gross, as Seth would say.
Indeed. So, but this interesting, I like the description that the Sphinx gives, because the first thing he says is harmless. A tiny, toothless, hairless, hunched old woman, no taller than my waist. And then going on, her purple skin, had a white chain, mumbling nonsense.
Gross. Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, we don't need to go into super detail.
Yeah.
But I really like, and later on we get a little bit more on her, but the Sphinx describes her as a manipulator. That is her biggest tool. And so the first thing she will always do is get in your head. And if you're not careful,
she'll stay there.
Yes, that is the worst case scenario.
Well, because she tries to, like, you have to give her permission, basically, to like
if you're
come
outside,
and stay.
if you're outside the ring.
If you're outside the ring, yeah. So basically, he sought her help, and she gave him a replica key, of her prison, and then also like a needle, like a poison needle, to use on like the jailer, basically like help him kill other people, you know, because one's not enough.
So yeah, he comes up with a cover story to tell the jailer, basically saying, Funi had rebelled and killed the jailer, and of course the Sphinx had no other option but to kill Funi. And so the jailer, knowing that he wasn't even supposed to let go of the key in the first place, is like, yep, sounds good, moving on.
Do you think the assistant jailer's still in the quiet box?
I think he is.
He must be.
He's been in there for hundreds of years. He's probably going to be babbling nonsense too when he comes out of there.
Yeah, that's... Yikes.
Talk about a time capsule.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
Yeah. Ugh. I mean, at least the sting bulb that they're using, wow. At least the Kendra sting bulb that they're using in Fablehaven isn't, well, I guess she is kind of sentient, but.
She is sentient.
It's sentient?
The fruit is sentient? I don't know how to describe. I don't know fruit's pronouns.
I mean, I guess she enjoys it. She's like, yeah, I get to stay alive longer.
I mean, her life has been prolonged by a long time. So yeah, they talk about them both being shadow charmers and how Nagi Luna helped him develop his abilities, and that was essential. Those abilities were essential to him taking over Living Mirage and then gaining the Font of Immortality. Poor Seth. He says, "I'm evil," Seth said numbly, plopping down on his cushion.
So conflicted.
It's something he's always struggled with, is that being a shadow charmer makes him feel evil.
Mm-hmm. And even before that, I feel like when he would make mistakes, he just felt like he was a screw up. And now he's seeing like the only other person like him make these kinds of decisions. And he's just like, what chance do I have? You're okay, buddy. You're okay. And then another disgustingly amazing quote down here. You believe that I hate you, that I hate your grandfather. Seems that way. The Sphinx furrowed his brow. You must understand, I do not view Stan Sorensen as my enemy. He is merely my opponent. I like your grandfather. He is a good man. And he is an obstacle. I have to best him. We do not see eye to eye on the opening of Zizix. You keep getting people killed, Seth said, sick of his enemy's pretenses. The Sphinx sighed. I go out of my way to avoid killing those I respect, including, love that little extra insert right there, those I respect. Very short list. Including you and your sister. But yes, this is a bloody business, and sometimes people have to perish. To be honest, in the end, if killing Stan is what it takes to open the demon prison, I will kill him. He would do no less in order to stop me. This is not because I hate Stan, but because he stands in opposition to my cause, and I believe in my cause. Releasing demons? You admitted they were evil. Zizix cannot stand forever, the Sphinx explained. That which has a beginning must have an end. When wizards try to make anything permanent, it becomes brittle, fallible. Invincibility is impossible. Attempts to attain it always fail. So instead of creating an impregnable prison, they created a nearly impregnable prison. That made the prison as strong as possible, but it also means that eventually somebody will open it. I have spent my long life preparing myself to be the right person to release the demons on strict conditions and rule over them. Heed my words. With or without me, eventually that prison will be opened. Where others would fail and unleash ruin upon the world, I will succeed. In time, I will use the power of my position to reinstate balance in the world so magical creatures won't have to cower. Yada, yada, yada. I'm great. Put the world in balance again. And
he says,
I hate him.
Well, you didn't get to the very end. By virtue of my position, I will use evil to bring about good.
You're right. I should have.
That is probably the most important sentence, because using evil to bring about good never has good results. It doesn't work. That's not how it works.
Especially not for the person doing the evil. Like,
I think about everyone else, though.
For sure.
Sometimes it does.
An interesting thing I'm thinking about is like, for those of you who have seen Rogue one of the premises is that Cassian Andor, one of the heroes of the film, or at least protagonist, has done some messed up, crappy things that he has to live with. He was an assassin, a saboteur, a con artist, all these different things. He had to kill people, sometimes good people, in an effort to overthrow the Empire. In the series Andor, one of the Rebel Alliance leaders, what's his name?
No spoilers.
I won't say.
Okay.
He has a really good monologue about. A quote from it is, "I burn my life for a sunrise I know I'll never see."
Ooh, that's a really good quote.
Yeah. Highly recommend listening to just that. If you're not even a Star Wars fan, look up Luthen Rail Andor speech. You will not be disappointed. But it's just like he has resigned himself to be a bad person in the idea that his bad actions will bring about good results. The difference, however, is that he knows he's doing bad things. He realizes that he has to have the nightmares, he has to have the guilt weigh on him, and he has to live with it so that other people won't have to. The Sphinx is just deluded enough into thinking that I'm a good person. I do bad things, but I'm still a good person.
I don't know if... Is it narcissism? I don't even know what to describe it as, but
I think a little bit of psychopath.
Psychopath? I'm not a therapist or a psychologist.
Sure.
I don't know how to diagnose this guy, but he definitely has something where he thinks that because he has convinced himself he has good intentions, that doing bad things, he can direct them into a net good, which is like in any story that you read, that is just not how the world works.
No.
You cannot bring about good by doing evil. That's why they're opposites.
At least not a net good. Like you were saying, he believes he's doing a net good overall. No. There's always going to be people who believe you are the enemy, and deep down you should know that you are as well. It's the same complex that every villain, like not Voldemort, he's really just generic
it's
evil.
every villain that has like kind of more convincing, like
Grindelwald, that's his beliefs for the greater good.
We keep saying Thanos. Like
Thanos
really is the best example. Because people believe he's right. Like some people agree with him.
And even like their arcs really mirror each other, waiting for lifetimes until all of the stones or all the artifacts are in the same place, and that he could just do a quick little gauntlet run and get them all in a relatively short amount of time.
Well, he is kind of like Thanos, collecting infinity stones, collecting artifacts.
That's what I'm saying.
This is crazy.
It's the same story.
He is Thanos. The Sphinx is Thanos. Wow.
Confirmed.
Crazy. No, but like, I've never really paid attention to that line, but it's a really good line because you really see what the Sphinx believes. But also, if you have an understanding of how, at least what I believe good and evil bring about, it just doesn't work that way. And it never will.
Yeah, and like when I go back to like the Andor comparison, like overall in Star Wars, eventually the rebellion does win.
Yeah.
But does Luthen Rail? But like overall, do they have happy, fulfilled lives? No, they're forced to murder, kill, lie, steal in the name of something of a piece that they may see, but they will never feel. The Sphinx is just trying to bury that guilt under some psychopathic idea that it's to fuel his own ego. He has such a high ego of himself, which is crazy because he's not in himself magical. No, he's a mortal man.
He uses magical artifacts and magical things to do things, but he is a normal man.
Well, he is a shadow charmer.
That's true.
So he has a few.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but
let me start over.
But no, inherently, naturally, he was not born with magical abilities.
Yeah,
he took them.
Well, and his shadow charmer stuff can be helpful to a point, but
That's not.
It's
that's
not
the kind of
enough.
power. That's not the
It's
power
not enough
he
to be.
wants.
It's not enough to be like the ruler of the world. Like,
Yeah, this is a power that he sees as a tool to get the power, which is, he said, he wants to rule the world. He wants to set up a kingdom. Yeah, I think it is a bit narcissistic in a way that
it's that him believing that he's the best person and only he can do it is very. I don't know. I think narcissism probably is the right word.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he's just way more. It's like an oblivious narcissist. Like Thanos, at the very least, seemed to have some remorse for what he had to do at times. He's like, I won't use the power. Like, once he uses the stones to destroy the stones once he has what he, like, so he seems to be, like, yeah. In some ways, the Sphinx is worse than Thanos. Like, not in the terms of the evil that they create, but in the morals.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Thanos did what he said he was going to do, because he did not want to rule. He did not want that kind of power. He accomplished his goal and then he set it down. The Sphinx, there will never be enough power for him. Mm-hmm. It will never be enough. Which, when you look at his background, is being born into slavery and sold onto this preserve.
He doesn't want to be below anyone ever again.
He won't let himself be.
Yeah. His past really fuels his goals. Yeah. Which is something I've never thought about before, but it's actually really important to his character.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I love that we're getting such a great backstory drop.
Yeah. Well, and I like how Seth talks just after this. He says, Seth lowered his face into his hands. Let's pretend everything you're saying comes straight from the heart. So let's pretend you're sincere and whatever. That was just my answer. How can we possibly trust that you're the right person to open the prison? Wouldn't it be safer to try and make sure it never gets opened? Only in the short term, the Sphinx said. Eventually, even if it is well beyond our lifetimes, the prison will be opened. It is inevitable. I'm inevitable.
I thought the same thing! You beat me to it!
Why is he actually Thanos? Thanos says he's inevitable. The frick.
No, where's Tony Stark when we need him?
Am Iron Man. All right. Back to the quote.
No, that was
the way
a great
that it
insert.
says inevitable. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, confirmed. What the Russo brothers were reading Fablehaven.
Sphinx is Thanos. Yeah, no. Okay, back to the quote. It is inevitable. And if the prison does not open on my terms, it may well mean the end of the world. But you can't live forever, Seth said. Even with a font of immortality, it breaks your rule that everything with a beginning has to end. If you release the demons, what happens when you die? Which is such a fair question, by the way. And then the Sphinx says this. Good thinking. I will live as long as I can. But if a full week ever passes without a sip from the font, I turn to dust. No matter what precautions I take, given infinite time, that will eventually happen. Which is why I must set up a system, a kingdom, a new order that can persist long after I am gone. It is all part of my plan. So, like, he literally is just, like, that's not a good answer, in my opinion.
It's really not.
It's literally just, I want to be the one to do it so I can set up the next regime of the world.
And put myself on top.
Yeah. And he's like, I only trust myself. And I'm just, oh my gosh.
And also, by that same rule, the system that you set up will eventually fail.
That's the thing. Nothing lasts forever. And so just the audacity that he has to think that he can be the next one to set up the next system that will last until it's taken down is so big. Like, his ego is huge.
Like, the fact that he being the leader, him being the caretaker of the 5th secret preserve, he could have done so much to ensure even its impregnability. Like, if he had realized in his brain that, like, he even says they made it as close to impregnable as they could. Like, does he not realize how insane how does he not realize how insane he sounds?
Because of his ego.
I think
he can't believe that anyone is better than him.
You're right. I think it really is. Like, if we had to classify this, I think narcissism is just the best way to put it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and Seth is like, you can't possibly believe that you are like the best. You get that he says, you get that you're overestimating yourself, that the demons will trick you or overpower you. If you succeed in opening Zizix, you're going to destroy the world. Seth is right.
100%.
The thing is that, like, what I was talking about earlier with the Sphinx's quote-unquote powers, even if he's a shadow charmer, that was done through a demon. Mm-hmm. Just because you are a shadow charmer doesn't mean you have power over demons. You don't have the power to control the demons, no matter what, like, agreement you think you come to with them. They're not on your side.
It's just like, you're right. He's so desperate for security and power at this point because he knows what it's like to not have either of those things. He's desperately grasping for any possible pieces of those things that he can, and he can't see that he, like, even at the very beginning, he's like, they didn't realize that I was the most dangerous person at Living Mirage.
Yeah.
The absolute conceit in saying that
is wild.
Knowing, as he knows now, that there were demons, and
yeah, what about Nagi Luna?
Nagi Luna herself, and also, who knows what was guarding the artifact in the vault? Because you know for a fact he did not go in that vault by himself.
Oh, no.
You know for a fact.
He sacrificed people to get that.
To go in and be like, hey, what's the first obstacle? Okay. He probably sent in Mr. Lich with a horde of zombies.
That's one way to do it.
I mean, he got them through the Obsidian Waste vault.
Well, and here's another interesting thing that really goes back to, like, his trauma of being a slave and not wanting, like, prisons or people to have masters. He says, I have prepared. I am certain. I have been a slave, Seth. As master, I will release the prisoners and create a world without slaves. So he's like, I guess part of it is him not wanting anyone, or saying he doesn't want anyone to be in the same position he was. But he can't guarantee that.
At the same time, he's literally keeping Seth, Mara, Berrigan, Seth, and Kendra's parents prisoner.
And Seth kind of talks about that, and he's like, well, I can't let you out now. It has to be after. And I'm like, you can't guarantee a world where nothing bad ever happens just because you think you're going to be in charge and that you can somehow guarantee everything, even though you're not the most powerful person in the world, but you think you are. The ego is crazy.
It goes so crazy. A couple good one-liners from Seth. Seth filled his cheeks with air and blew out slowly. So this is what the guy who will destroy the world looks like. And I'm like, I'm so glad that Seth is not taken in for even a moment. The entire time he's just like, this man is just crazy. Seth is us just being like, this man is crazy. He is deluded. He has no idea what he's doing. He has the ego the size of a whale, and he's going to kill us all.
Yeah. Well, and even later...
Good job, Seth.
They're talking about, like, their abilities as shadow charmers, and Seth is like, oh, we could sit around and talk to zombies, Seth mumbled. And then the Sphinx says, don't undervalue your gifts. Mr. Lich is probably the most powerful Viviblix in the world. He can create and control undead servants, but he cannot hear their thoughts, their voices. I guess I should count my blessings, Seth said dryly. He's so funny.
And even better, the Sphinx gives him a quick little demonstration of, like, because I mean he knows this kid is a teenage boy, and he's like, maybe if I show him some of my cool dark powers, maybe he'll get on my side. He does like a quick little room goes black, temperature drops, floor spins, all that jazz, and then he like has the dizzy spells pass. Says like, you did that? The Sphinx is like, yes, and so can you if you choose to sign your name and sign your soul over to me. Yada, yada, yada. Not exactly, but you get my point. Seth pressed his lips together. I'm not going to pretend that isn't cool. He paused, hands folded in his lap. All right, you've convinced me. I want to join your cause. I don't agree with what you're doing, but I don't see how anyone will stop you. If you're going to open that prison for the sake of the world, you'll need all the help you can get. The Sphinx licked his lips. We both know you're lying. I appreciate the attempt.
Yeah.
I love it.
We all know you weren't sincere in that, Seth. Like, you can say it, but you're not fooling anyone.
And I just love, and right after that, the Sphinx goes, okay, where are they keeping the chronometer? And Seth's like, no comment.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, and I just love that Seth is just Seth. He just decides, I'm going to, he puts it all into that one last little gamble, and he's like, okay, that's not going to work. I'll just shut my mouth then.
You know, it's interesting. The Sphinx then says, tell me about Vanessa. He's probing for, like, more information. I think that's so interesting.
And Seth, the good boy that he is, just like, just because you're being honest doesn't mean I have to be.
Yeah. He literally says, just because you want to spill your guts doesn't mean I have to. I'm like, yep. And so, basically, that's the end of the conversation.
And he's like, I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Good for you, Seth. That's what you should be doing. And so the Sphinx brings Marav back in to escort Seth to his cell. And Seth wants to fight back, but he knows there's not really anything he can do. So,
which he hates himself for.
Yeah, he hates. He's like, I don't want to be a good little prisoner and just go to my cell, but I can't do anything productive.
I mean, he's literally facing a fully realized shadow charmer and a wizard.
And a wizard. Yeah.
A real wizard, like once dragon wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, true wizard. That's a good point. That's a good word for it.
So, yeah.
And that was chapter 6. All right. So, this next chapter has all of our favorite things.
Almost. The chapter after.
All right. Yeah, these 2 chapters, we are feasting. We are enjoying.
Okay, well, I feel like Brandon Mole is really good at doing just kind of like either joking titles or like funny like titles you wouldn't expect. That's kind of funny, like Doomsday Capsule. Like,
but I love that.
Also the fact that it's April 1st is the funny part.
The pure irony of that.
Yes,
You're right.
exactly.
You're right.
It's just like, oh no, the end of the world. Or is it?
April Fools.
Is it April Fools?
Which we have a beautiful
funny
demonstration of, because as Kendra is
pacing the garden,
morosely just wandering, like looking sad, Newell and Dora come up and they're like, hey, where's your brother at? And Kendra has to go, well, he got captured by the society. And Doran immediately goes, oh no. Whereas Newell is just like, ha, nice one, Kendra.
Funny.
Would have caught
Where
us.
is Seth?
Where is he at? Where is he really? Come on.
And Kendra's like, what are you talking about? And they're like,
we know it's April Fool's.
Yeah, he's like, I would believe you, but it's April Fool's.
And this goes on for
the rest of their conversation.
Like 3 pages.
Literally the rest of their conversation. Newell does not believe. Doran does. Which is funny, since we just read The Tales of Newell and Doran, which I'm like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it kind of, it fits.
It fits.
And so it ends up being like Newell decides that Doran and Kendra have both teamed up against him, trying to make this like the ultimate prank. And then like Newell's like, I'm not going to believe, I'll just ask you again tomorrow. And then their last comment is the most hysterical one ever. Actually, no, it goes on for 5 pages. My goodness.
It goes on forever.
But the best part is as they start to walk away, because Kendra realizes this is an exercise in futility.
Yeah.
Newell calls out, hey, Kendra, before you go, can you lend me a handkerchief? Or some other personal token? I want to get a rise out of Ver. I'll pretend you've fallen for him.
Oh my gosh.
And the fact that Doran's immediately like, yes, let's do it. And Kendra's just like, don't you dare. That's not funny. That's mean.
Like, I am not in the mood for this right now.
But then Newell does come back with a solid counter, which, I mean, he's like, no crueler than pretending my best friend was kidnapped. And I'm like, okay, if you see it from that point of view, yeah, this is kind of rude. This is kind of mean for him. So yeah, I feel bad for him tomorrow when he figures out that it's not true. Or they weren't.
He's like, I'll come back tomorrow and ask. I love how when Warren comes over, Newell is like, yes, Warren is here to support the prank.
Next, you guys will be bringing out the notaries to show us the signed documents.
Okay, but another part of this, part that's so sad is that Kendra didn't even realize it was April Fool's, because she's like, Seth was not here to remind me of the holiday because he usually plays all these pranks on everyone.
Because you know he would.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's kind of sad.
That is really depressing, actually.
So, yeah. But anyway, Warren...
I find it funny because the reason Warren is fetching Kendra is to open up a capsule from Patton.
Yes, the so-called Doomsday Capsule.
And Grandma and Grandpa remark on the irony of it being April 1st that they're opening it. And I just know it's because Patton was also quite the
jokester
enthusiast about the holiday. It's got to be something about the last name Burgess, I swear. Seth Warren and Patton.
As we say literally every episode.
For good reason.
Quite literally. So everyone's trying to be really, like, nice to Kendra and, like...
They had all been smiling a lot since Obsidian Waste.
She's like, will you just stop?
You're only making it worse.
Helping. But it is interesting because she's basically... I mean, Seth's not dead. At least she doesn't... I guess she doesn't actually know. But it's basically the position that Seth was in last book when he thought she was dead. And everyone was, like, trying to, you know...
Because, I mean, she literally saw him get shot in the back.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, I'm like, we know he's not dead. And she can hope that he's not dead. But then he's just a genie in a bottle for an indefinite amount of time. So it's just like...
For all they know, they might chuck Seth into
It's just an interesting parallel of, like, what Seth was going through in the fourth book and what Kendra's going through now. Yeah. It's a parallel.
It's like poetry, it rhymes. Yeah, as I was saying, Grandma and Grandpa are deciding to open up the, quote, Doomsday Capsule as named by Patton, because of course that's what he would name his...
last resort.
Yes. So as caretakers of Fablehaven, Grandpa was left with instructions not to open it unless the end of the world appeared imminent. So, Grandpa's like, well, can't get much darker than this.
Yeah. They're like, we have nothing.
The only thing they have is Vanessa.
Yeah, like, and she's not talking.
They even actually mention at the very beginning of this chapter they even say they're trying to reach out to the Sphinx. They mention...
Yes. Grandpa says, like, he used every, like, way he knows how to try and contact the Sphinx, and he doesn't get a reply.
Yeah, they still had no leads on finding Seth. Warren, Coulter, and Tanu had teleported around the globe using the translocator. Vanessa had reached out to her best contacts, and Grandpa had tried every method he knew to hail the Sphinx, but none of their efforts had yielded results.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, they were like, we are willing to do anything it takes at this point. Because maybe they weren't willing to trade the chronometer or the translocator for Seth.
No.
But they're hoping maybe he'll make a mistake in letting them, like, interpret his
They
moves.
also at least wanted to know that Seth was alive.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's another part of it.
Yeah, so I liked that little, you got to sometimes negotiate with the enemy. You're not going to compromise, but you can
Don't negotiate with terrorists, Jessica. Sorry, I just have to put that in
you
there.
You have to open negotiations to see if they'll mess up and tell them where you are.
Yeah.
Tell you where they are. I think I said that wrong. Anyways, their last possible lead is Vanessa, but she's still not talking. They mentioned that she still has her big secret, and that it might be revealed soon, but it's in their best interest to keep silent. And of course, Grandma, whatever reason she gives, I say she's holding out until she gets her freedom, trying to preserve leverage, yada, yada, yada. She betrayed us, so we shouldn't trust her.
Yeah. So now they're going to the Doomsday Capsule. Oh, joy. So basically, they need Kendra to read an inscription that was written by Patton on the cabinet of the Doomsday Capsule so that they can make sure that they're doing it right. So that, because it could possibly, explode if they do it wrong. So she reads the following paragraph. Open only in a time of utmost crisis pertaining to Zizix and the end of the world, Kendra read. The key to the capsule must be turned by one who shares my bloodline, and an Umite candle must be burning in the room, or else the capsule will destroy itself. Anything else, Grandpa asked? That's all I see. So
Patton really likes the
Umite candles.
Yeah, first the Journal of Secrets, now this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good. Pen pal.
Like how Grandma's like, we didn't know about the candle. That could have ended badly.
But it didn't.
No kidding.
All right. So they get to the key, and inside is just a letter that says, all right. So, because at this point he knows probably who's going to be empty, who's going to be opening it. Based on the fact that he uses a secret fairy language to communicate.
Yeah.
He knows Kendra and Grandma and Grandpa Swordsons are the ones who are, at this point in time, going to be needing this wisdom.
Mm-hmm. So Grandpa holds up the key and he's like, your grandmother will have to do the honors. Or Warren, Grandma added. And then Coulter goes to get a candle, and then Kendra is like, oh, where's Dale? Dale could technically also open it. We do forget about Dale sometimes. And then I just like how they're like, oh, keeping the preserve running. What would we do without Dale and Hugo? And I'm like, I don't know. They're in the background doing stuff.
Keep the skies clear. That's what I think of, like, from the first Iron Man when Tony jets off to stop Obadiah, the Ironmonger, and Rhodey's like, well, what can I do? And he's like, just keep the skies clear. Just be the...
Dale just does stuff.
He does
the preserve.
He does the necessary stuff, but...
apparently.
Not the glorious stuff.
Nah, that's for Warren. Dale doesn't care.
Always the second son. All right, so... inside is a diagram of the chronometer and a letter from Patton saying, all right, crap's about to hit the fan, we need to talk.
Yeah.
He gives some advice about how to use the chronometer. He's like, if you pull these buttons and flip these switches, you can bring up to 5 people back in time. The chronometer will only transport mortals and will only take you as far back as the day of your birth. To clarify, the device will transport any group of mortals as far back as the day the eldest member of the group was born. So with this group, Coulter is the eldest, so they can go back as early as Coulter's birth.
Yeah. And Patton brings this up because he says, you'll find instructions for how to use the chronometer to take you to September 24th, 1940, 8:30 in the evening. If Coulter remains with you, he should be just old enough to reach this day. So
I love that Grandpa's just like, dang it, I missed it by a few years.
It's like, well, if it's a few years later, I could have done it.
And so they're like, well, might as well go talk to the only other chess master in this universe, regardless of time period.
Mm. So Tanu's like, you 5 go. He'll want to see his relatives. I'll hold down the fort. And then Coulter is super excited because now he knows somewhat how to use the chronometer because he's been trying for months to try and figure anything out.
And I just love also that he's just like...
he's like, I gotta go see Patton.
He gets to go see Patton. And also just like the little... like he and Patton share this link where only they understand how to work the chronometer.
True.
It's just like, it's a little link between them. Coulter just to be like, I'm old enough and I know how to do it.
Yeah, it's cute.
So he figures he gets all the settings and they get teleported and Terminator rules. No non-organic material gets to come, so...
oh, I've never seen the Terminator. Yeah, it transports them without their clothes for some weird reason.
Only organic material, I guess.
That's weird. Also, it, like, sucker punches them in the stomach. Literally knocks them to the ground. I'm like, okay, what are these stipulations? Why does it do that?
Well, time is a force about
it
which
didn't
we know
do that to
frighteningly
Patton
little.
when he came
Yeah,
forward.
that's true.
But I guess he came forward for a longer amount of time. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know. I don't pretend to understand the chronometer. No one does.
I was gonna say I don't think anybody does.
Absolutely no one does.
So yeah, Patton just like delicately drapes all of them with robes, and he's like, "Okay, let's talk."
Like an old, cute little old Patton. And I like how he's like, "Well, now I know I'll die within a year," because apparently he was just waiting for them to come, and
he would update it every year, seeing if he could get it.
And he was like, "Darn, I wanted to make it to 100."
Which, how old is he? Is he like? It doesn't say.
I haven't done the math in a while.
Well, do we know what year he was
He's
born?
probably in his 90s.
Yeah, because he says like
I would say mid-90s.
Yeah, mid to late 90s. All right, and the fact that he's still like this coherent and mobile.
Yeah, very cute.
All right, so I just saw the quote again. A few more years and I could have done it. From Stan. Anyways, so They only have half an hour per the chronometer's requirements. And if you basically the idea is the chronometer doesn't come with them, but in half an hour, if you stand in approximately the same spot where you entered, you'll be drawn home to your proper era. If not, you'll be trapped in my time. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's
terrifying.
a crazy thing. I'm like, okay, nobody move.
Everybody
stay where you are. Do not move a muscle.
I almost said, everybody move. And I was like, wait, wrong quote.
No, everybody don't move. Do not move.
And then, again, he and Coulter, just to have this little moment, he's like, by the way, if you want to come again, you just have to give Nubs C5 3/4 of a turn. And Coulter's like, got it.
Gotcha. And then Patton's like, okay, let's get down to business.
To defeat the Sphinx.
Exactly.
All right, so his first question is, does the Sphinx have the Oculus?
Grandma's like, yes.
He's like, dang it, I knew I shouldn't have left it in Brazil.
He's like, I debated going after it, but I was already well past my prime. Well, water under the bridge. Anyway, the Sphinx does have it. And he's like, does he have the translocator? And Grandpa's like, nope, we got that one. And Patton's like, so you went to Wormroost.
You've solved my puzzle.
Yeah, it's literally like him being like, okay, what things have you done that I set up?
Which dominoes have you tapped?
Was I successful in all of this?
Which is amazing. Like, everything that he did, like, all of the dominoes that he has set up are being knocked down so perfectly, he's got to be like, man, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, he even
it's
gets...
just crazy.
Yeah, he even has, I love how confident he is, and yet he's still humble. Like, he mentions later, when he talks about the fifth preserve and the font of immortality, he's like, Grandpa asked, do you think the Sphinx already has it? And Patton says, I can't say for certain. That would be my best guess, though. I'm downright talented at finding things. But the fifth preserve and the font of immortality completely eluded me. In all my days, I never heard a believable rumor about either.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. With how good and how well-traveled Patton was.
You know, he searched forever for that, you know?
Without reliable plane transportation, if you think about it. This man was born in the 1800s.
I mean, this man did bring a giant Thunderbird with him to get off Shoreless Isle.
This is true. He did say he didn't recommend the travel, though. Anyways.
True. We'll get to that.
So.
They tell him that the Sphinx captured Seth and their parents.
I'm reading this last bit. Patton narrowed his eyes. He learns about the Sphinx kidnapping Seth and their parents and just being like, ugh. I would trade just about anything to have words with that maniac. I don't reckon wishing will do me much good.
And so he also asks if the Sphinx has learned to use the Oculus. And Kendra's like, yes, at Wormroost, the Fairy Queen confirmed that she saw him using it. He has assistance, but we're not quite sure who's helping him.
So Patton's like, okay. He lowered his head, hands folded on his lap. For a moment, Kendra thought he had dozed off. Then he looked up. He's like, just gotta compute for a moment.
Yeah.
If the Sphinx can use the Oculus, your plight is indeed dire. He will be very difficult to stop. The hardest part about opening Zizix is acquiring the necessary knowledge and locating the appropriate items. Master of the Oculus will lead the Sphinx to success. Because there is an extra layer of protection. You have the artifacts, and Patton mentions this in like a couple of paragraphs after he says this. Because there's the artifacts, and as much as the artifacts are literal keys, there's one extra thing, and they're called the Eternals.
Yes. We finally learned about the Eternals.
It's just like a little extra layer of protection where there are 5 of them scattered around the globe. Nobody knows about them. Like, Patton basically says, this was, like, he says,
this is the failsafe.
Yeah, this is the failsafe. It is one of the secrets I never wrote about. Anonymity has historically been one of their best forms of protection.
It's a deep level of protection that no one's ever heard of until now, really.
Like,
so
Grandpa
basically,
doesn't know about it. Warren doesn't know about it.
So basically what the Eternals are these 5 people representing the 5 artifacts, basically. And they are what their name is. They are immortal, eternal people who, until they die, the prison cannot be opened. So the Sphinx will have to kill all of the Eternals before he can open the prison.
And now that he has the Oculus, he says anonymity will no longer shield them. They must get behind sturdy walls. And they are directly connected to the magic of the artifacts, especially the Sands of Sanctity and the Font of Immortality.
Yeah.
To slay them would require dragon breath, a unicorn horn, a mortal wound from a unicorn horn, or some weapon of similar potency. Phoenix fire is also mentioned. So
It's like a Horcrux.
yeah, anybody got a basilisk thing handy?
Honestly. The Sword of Gryffindor that takes into it only what makes it stronger. Anyway.
Love that. Goblin Silva. All right, so
yeah, the Eternals, that's a big lore thing that we didn't know about before.
Mm-hmm.
Very important step. And now that the Sphinx has the Oculus and knows how to use it, he can use it to find all the Eternals way faster than anyone ever could dream, because without the Oculus, you can't find them.
indeed.
And going back a little bit, Patton did talk about where the prison is, or like where the entrance to the prison is. It's on this island in the Bermuda Triangle, which is, a trope or whatever you want to call it.
How many books or how many
The
stories?
Bermuda Triangle, the Sea of Monsters. Like, I don't know. There's always something.
Like this mysterious hidden place with massive distractor spells, or where filled with dangerous places. It's the reason that this one location has more shipwrecks or disappearances than anywhere else in the entire world.
Yeah. So basically, it's on this island called Shoreless Isle, and the way that Patton got there was taking a ghost ship that takes you to the island, and then he brought a Thunderbird with him to fly back. But he said the reason that he went there...
Well, no, we gotta do the entire conversation. Have you been there, Grandpa asked. One corner of Patton's mouth quirked up into a lopsided smile. Why would I go and do such a foolish thing? Unless there was a shrine to the Fairy Queen or that island.
Basically, his on my bucket list was to go to every single Fairy Queen shrine that I could find. So, of course, I had to go to Shoreless Isle.
Just the most dangerous potential place in the world.
I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I don't have a problem. I don't know what you're talking about.
Lena's over here slamming her forehead into the wall.
It's stop doing stupid stuff.
Why did I marry such a man?
Why are you dumb? Why are men stupid?
Isn't it weird how women live longer than men? Yeah. I also love Patton's mention, can you tell us anything useful about it? Beautiful place. All I saw, waste of paradise. They should have chosen an uglier spot.
Honestly.
Useful, Patton. Useful!
Well, it's not much. There's not much else there, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, he talks about that. Then he mentions, like you said, he mentions the Eternals after that. And so he's like, okay, now let's prioritize. So, hang on.
He's like, well, first of all, he's like, here are my ideas of what you could maybe try.
And not die.
He says, the trail is cold to, find the Eternals. He's like, it would be tough. The trail is cold. You might pay the Singing Sisters a visit, or take a stroll in the Hall of Whispers, or get to the totem wall to speak. The Singing Sisters? Warren asked Grandpa dubiously. The Hall of Whispers? Are those real? Shady magic, Grandpa said. The kind that usually comes with a steep price. I'm not claiming to have convenient solutions, Patton said. You asked. I'm telling you what I might try. So it's just kind of funny how he's like, I didn't say I had you had good options.
I'm just saying these are the options.
These are what I might try, adrenaline junkie. Then Patton asks about Vanessa and if they ever got the secret from her.
Yeah, they mentioned that, that's our last lead at this
Other than
point.
you, it's our last hope.
It's like, keep working to get it out of her.
He also suggests that Kendra visits a fairy shrine to talk to the Fairy Queen. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, okay, yes, we will do that.
Mm-hmm. They mentioned some stuff about time travel, like Kendra can't go see Lena because they don't know what that'll do. And Warren's just like, you're starting to break my brain, because they get into the minutia of paradoxes.
If you went to the past, would your actions always be part of the past? Or this is literally going back to Avengers Endgame.
It literally is.
They mentioned all of the time machine movies of Hot Tub Time Machine,
Back
to the Future,
time after time, Back to the Future.
Hot tub time machine. I'm just thinking about that scene now. That's so funny.
Every movie ever made about time travel. And then Patton's just like, yeah, it's breaking mine too. His face took on a wistful expression, his eyes moistening. I wish I could have done more, somehow averted all of this. I spent my life trying. I honestly gave it my best. You did more than we could have ever hoped or imagined, Grandma said, laying a hand on his. Patton winked at Grandpa. You married a good one. Of course I did. She's a Burgess.
I do love that. And I'm like, Patton, you shouldn't feel bad. You literally did more than, like, anyone else in history combined.
Seriously.
Like, it's crazy how much he accomplished in his lifetime.
Seriously, the Sphinx probably curses Patton's name daily.
Honestly.
Like, without him, Gavin 100% gets the chronometer from Lost Mesa.
Yeah.
Fablehaven falls, and Kendra is now the Sphinx's personal battery.
Yep.
Grandpa, Grandma, and Seth maybe escape before the Sphinx.
They become shadows.
But more likely,
Seth wouldn't because he. Well, I guess he would.
Yeah,
he would.
He did become one at one point.
Yeah, I forgot. I was thinking
Stop
Shadow Charmer, but
moving around.
He wasn't quite a Shadow Charmer yet, so.
Yeah. And he actually did get, like, turned into a shadow and then grabbed Kendra. He's like, will you stop moving?
Yeah, I remember that. So, yeah. Without Patton, nothing would have worked. I mean, there's a reason he's called the world's greatest adventurer.
Mm-hmm. Such a beast.
You've done great work, Stan, Patton said tenderly. You've surrounded yourself with more quality people than I've ever encountered. I love this part right here. He switched his gaze to Warren. I would not be surprised to learn that many of you surpassed my accomplishments.
I noticed that. I love that he specifically looks at Warren.
Uh-huh. He's looking at Warren being like, hey, great something nephew. You're going to surpass me.
Hey, clone.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I passed it on to you.
Here you go. Here's the torch. Run.
So, yeah.
Where's also, he mentions, like, where does he talk about priorities?
Well, there's also this one part that I think is funny. He gave a perturbed smile. Most of my hardships were self-inflicted. Like, yeah, that's true.
Your future is full of anguish. Most of it self-inflicted. He says, like, okay, priorities. Defend the artifacts you have. That is, like, the base. Like, don't move around. Just, oh, here we go. What can we do, Grandpa asked. Guard the artifacts you have. There may be times when it is prudent to use the translocator, but not many. The Sphinx is patient and intelligent. If he anticipates a location and manages to steal the translocator, all is lost. I don't like the idea of having two artifacts in the same place, but I like the idea of transporting him at this point even less. If you have to, get to Wormroost. That'll be your last resort, and it'll be your last fallback position. And so he's like, after that, find the Eternals, or try to see if you can get them behind into Wormroost and protect them. Then after that, try to find Seth and the other artifacts. This is kind of his list of...
This is the game plan.
This is our game plan.
Follow.
Which, I mean, of course they're going to, because that's the only sane thing to do here.
Patton is the wise one here.
He even has the age to back it up this time.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, and he's like, and then if you have time, go talk to the Fairy Queen. That's a good idea to just try to get some little extra information, especially because she had a connection to the Oculus, thanks to Kendra. Your first priority is to retain the artifacts you have. Second priority is to get the Oculus away from the Sphinx. You may want to talk to task some knights with locating and protecting Eternals. And, yeah, it's right before Grandpa mentions, I wish we had a man like you in our time.
Yeah, I just love how Patton is literally, like, he's already done so much to try and, like, help them. This is, like, his last time he can, like, really help them, and he's still, like, doing his best. He's like, here's the game plan. Here's what I would try, you know.
And the fact that he's coordinating all of these things for things that are happening 70 years in the future, man's insane.
It's crazy.
Also, like, World War II is kicking up at this point.
That's another thing I was thinking about. I was like, wow, 1940, September?
We are right there. And he's just like, man, gotta keep a...
I wonder how much he knows about World War II. Haven't traveled, probably not much.
Probably has the newspaper boy chuck it over the fence. we can keep up to date with world news.
Oh, I meant like him going to the future.
Oh.
If he knows the outcome. But it wasn't really his priority.
Seth is going to be mad that he missed this. Send him my best.
Aww.
Do something nice to Lena for me. I'll think of something special, Patton promised.
Oh, I love Patton so much.
So good. So good. And then all the breath went out of Kendra. The robe was gone, her clothes were back, and she was doubled over, trying to breathe.
And Donnie's like, are you okay?
Did it work? Are you all... What happened?
He literally is like, you guys didn't even flicker. Coulter flipped the switch and you all crumpled like someone slugged you in the gut. Was it productive? Grandpa gave a curt nod. We have work to do. That is the end of chapter 7. Here we go. Chapter 8. You know, nothing special about this chapter.
No, it's just titled Bracken. Isn't that like a type of... Like, isn't that a type of Bracken? I feel like that has another meaning, doesn't it?
I don't know. I know someone with the last name Bracken.
I feel like it means like...
You thinking
shrubbery?
bracket?
No, I think it means like shrubbery.
Is it? I don't know.
I feel like it's like an old-timey word. Yeah, I'm going to.
I wonder why someone would have a old name like that. Anyway, we are finally getting to talk about our favorite character other than Warren and Seth and Patton and Kendra. Bracken! Woo!
Aha! Aha! Bracken, a tall fern with coarse lobed fronds which occurs worldwide and can cover large
You killed our love fern!
Areas. What's that from? I don't know that
How
one.
to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
I remember that. Ha! It's actually Middle English of Scandinavian origin.
Okay. So, the name Bracken comes from a fern?
Informally, it is any large coarse fern resembling bracken, yeah. So what does it look like? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's bracken.
Okay. It's a fern. Anyway, chapter 8. Bracken.
So,
back to Seth.
He is such a joyous, improved circumstance. At least
he is fighting the boredom.
Well, at least now he's not being mentally manipulated by a psychopath.
Yeah.
Psychopathic narcissist. All right. So he's sitting on a cot in a gloomy cell.
Water dripping down.
Pretty much pure darkness, except for some faint torchlight outside. And he's like, this is an honest-to-goodness dungeon.
Yeah. Beside him sat the latest meal, a brick of tough meat, a wedge of moldy cheese, and a greasy mound of purple mush. It's gross.
So bad. He keeps going. I don't even want... I skip half this paragraph
I'm
most of the
not
time.
going to read that. It's gross. So he's like, yeah, this is a real honest-to-goodness dungeon.
Yay.
Woohoo.
So, from time to time, the echoes of distant screams interrupted the monotonous dripping. Less often, a deep voice would croak sad songs about the sea. Well, occasionally, he would hear footfalls and see a torch pass by his peephole, the direct firelight seeming very bright.
So basically, he's losing track of time, you know.
Can't
only tell time by the meals, and they probably don't give it to him regularly.
They actually mention how often it's twice a day later on.
Oh, twice a day. Okay.
So he says several, so it's been at least a day or two.
Days. Yeah. He has to get on all fours to drink out of his water pan like a dog.
And the humiliation that he's suffering right now is just immense.
Yeah. So he goes back to his cot and he's just thinking this is what the Sphinx was telling him about his family. And this is really sad. He's like, try not to imagine getting rescued. What were the chances of Kendra or even Grandpa or anyone would ever find this place? People had been looking for the fifth preserve for hundreds of years. A rescue was highly unlikely. He would do better simply to hope that others would not be captured as well.
How long would this cell be his home? It really might be for the rest of his life. Then again, if the Sphinx opened Zizix, the rest of his life might not be that long. Would he learn to tolerate this food? Look forward to it? No. No, you will not.
No.
All right, so...
All of a sudden, he's just sitting there, then all of a sudden, a rumble from behind startled him. This was new. From the back wall of his cell came a low, heavy grating of stone grinding against stone. A portion of the wall slid open, and a mellow white light shed a soft luminance into the room. A young man stepped through the opening, holding a white light in his hand. Seth picked up the prick of meat, the closest thing he had to a weapon. The intruder froze in the doorway, a hand held up defensively. Please, don't assault me with that meat amalgam, the stranger said. It would surely cause an infection. I love that this is our first introduction to Bracken.
The fact that he actually...
He's like, please don't hit me with the meat.
The fact that he actually takes it as a threat because he hates it so much.
That man's been eating it for hundreds of years. He's
I
quite
can't
sick of
even
it.
blame it. I can't even blame him. It's so
He's
funny.
like, it
All
also
right.
just shows his sense of humor.
Indeed.
Anyway, here
All
we
right.
are, Bracken.
The young man wore ragged clothing, improvised moccasins covered his dirty feet. The white light in his hand was clearly magical, some kind of glowing stone. The illumination gave his grime-streaked skin a pearly sheen. Tall and lean, he had silver white hair down to his shoulders and a handsome open face. I don't think I ever pictured him with hair down to his shoulders. I think I just always pictured closer to a crew cut. Not crew cut. What is it
Yeah,
called?
he's got long white hair.
All right, I'll take it. White mane, a mane of hair, if you would.
My gosh.
If you would so, if you could so call it. All right. And
He doesn't look like a horse right now. He
I
looks
know.
like a human.
I know. It was appropriate. Seth estimates he's around 18 years old
Yeah.
and is reasonably suspicious. He's like, what kind of prison has secret
First of all, he's like,
passageways?
Who are you? A fellow prisoner, the young man answered. May I come in? And Seth's like, well,
You may be a spy, but I'm
I
bored.
am so bored. I don't even care. Yeah, exactly.
Get in. All
He's
right.
like, sure, I guess.
So they start conversation. This mystery man introduces himself. I have a similar concern about you being a spy. I'm Bracken. Seth.
They stashed you down deep, which means you're either dangerous and they're done with you for the foreseeable future, or else you're a spy.
Seth fidgeted with the brick of meat, turning it in his hand. And how am I supposed to know you're not a spy? What sort of prison has secret passages between cells?
And Bracken's like, this dungeon is old. There are many corridors that have been opened and sealed, and no one knows all of the passageways around.
Like, nothing leading out. Like, we're not that lucky.
Yeah.
But as long as we don't make too much problems, they know that we're moving around. As long as we're not too open about it, they just let us do what we want to do. It's like, as long as we don't cause trouble, it keeps us occupied, they let it happen.
Seth is like, you talk like you've been here a long time. How old are you? Like 17? Bracken gave a wry smile. I'm a tad older than I look. You would weep for me if you knew how long I'd been here.
All right, so then we have a little quick personality test.
Yeah.
Bracken has some...
Abilities?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, mind skimming powers, kind of. Like...
Well, he just looks at him and he's like, I could tell you're a shadow charmer, which means you're a spy.
But he's also like, but that's really obvious. But that's, like, really obvious. Like, the Sphinx would do better than sending a shadow charmer down to spy on us. Like, he's not that dumb. And so he has Sith take his hands so he can ask him some questions and get a good read on him. And
He's a lie detector.
pretty much. He's like, if I ask something you don't like, go ahead and punch me in the face.
Which is so funny. So that's like, okay, I'll bite. Let's do it.
Tell me your name.
Seth Sorensen.
Tell me a lie.
The food here is terrific.
Bracken grinned. Now tell me something true.
Centaurs are jerks.
The grin broadened. Are you a friend of the Society of the Evening Star?
Nope. I'm the opposite. A Knight of the Dawn.
That was such a Seth conversation.
It is. I love how for the truth. Can we just talk about this for a second? The truth is he's like, centaurs are jerks. That is a fact. And Bracken probably is like, fair point. I agree.
They are technically light creatures, but
But
we're definitely the
so
best
much up their own
equines
butts
around.
that everyone hates them.
We're definitely the best equines around.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's see.
Bracken released his hands and scooted the stool back. I believe you. In fact, I know some things about you. You have friends here. And poor Seth, he's like, you know where my parents are? And Bracken's like, I don't, unfortunately, but I know where a few of your other friends are.
And he actually even takes him to meet one of them after some fun more quips. More important, your friends may have been mistaken about your allegiances. Hard to believe a shadow charmer could be on our side, but now I'm convinced. Seth folded his arms. I'm glad I passed your test. Do you have something I can hang on my fridge?
I left my stickers in my cell.
And then Seth's like, well,
kid is so funny.
he's so good.
He's like, here's a kid I can joke with. Some entertainment, please.
This poor man, he's been here for hundreds of years. Oh, the poor guy. Watching people die. Just like, because these cells would probably be consistently full. And he just has to watch
we didn't
people
say
grow
he
old.
didn't live here without trauma.
This is true. So, and I love Seth is like, well, it's all well and good that you can trust me, but how can I trust you?
Yeah, the only thing that Seth knows, he doesn't even actually know if his name's really Bracken, because he can't read his mind.
All he knows
is like this guy walked into his cell holding a
magical fairy
magical
rock.
stone that glows and is asking him questions and is like, hey, let me read your mind to see if you're lying. Oh, I can tell you're a shadow charmer. You must be a spy. Like, he literally doesn't know anything about him. So good for Seth. He is being careful. Mm-hmm. But he is also bored.
Out of his
So he's
mind.
like, okay,
I'll bite.
Take me to one of my friends and I'll just see where this goes.
And we have such a nice moment, followed by such a sad moment. Because, of course, the friend that we go to see is Maddox. Who we have not seen since book 1.
Yeah, we haven't seen the real Maddox since book 1. Because we had the Stingbolt Maddox in the last book. Well, I do love how Maddox is so excited to see Seth. He's like, I'm sorry you're here, Seth, but it's good to see you. And Seth is like, you're alive. Like, he starts talking about, like, the Stingbolt, and Maddox is like, I really was hoping you guys would see through the charade. And Seth is like, it was hard, but we did. And then they started talking about, like, it's crazy that Stingbulbs are still alive, Who knows what other things could be here at this preserve.
And then Seth is, of course, well, what if you're a Stingbulb? And then, of course, Bracken and Maddox are just like, oh, this kid's so
You're
cute.
like, yes. Good thinking. That is exactly what you should be asking. But, yeah.
And then, of course, because he has to say, well, the Stingbulb would have my memories. There's really nothing that they can do to convince Seth. And so really the only thing it comes down to is that Seth is just like, I get good vibes, we'll move on.
Yeah, basically.
And so, but Bracken holds up Maddox's empty meal mat. Clean your plate again, I see. Maddox gave an awkward smile. I'll be honest, I've eaten worse.
Ugh. And they're like, how could you possibly have eaten worse?
This guy wolfs down everything they serve here. He's put on a good 20 pounds since they brought him in.
And Maddox is like, I'm not saying I would choose this over a home-cooked lasagna, but I was starving when they brought me here. And Seth is like, I can't even bite into the meat.
It's like a salt lick, Bracken said, but this guy chews it up. You can find fracture points if you probe for weaknesses. Like, it sounds like it's a mining operation.
I don't know. Yeah, Maddox somehow, like we said, he's like the gruff survivalist. He can manage it. If anyone can, it's Maddox. And Bracken's like, yeah, they bring meals twice a day like clockwork. It's so gross.
We're served a compressed blend of dog, rat, and hobgoblin.
Seth laughed and gagged at the same time. I hope you're kidding.
But he doesn't say if he is!
Yeah, because a torch comes because someone's walking through the hallway. And they're like, oh yeah, we are still in a prison. You can't just joke around.
Ugh. Say, Seth, Maddox began awkwardly.
Here we go.
I know I shouldn't press you, but have you had any non-secretive word for my brother, Dugan?
Oh. Seth's face fell. Maddox didn't know about his brother.
Uh-oh, Maddox said. Bad news?
The worst news, Seth said.
Maddox's mouth twisted and trembled. He gave a quick nod. Right. Did he go bravely?
Seth nodded vigorously. It was at Wormroost. A dragon got him. Dugan helped save Kendra and the mission.
That's such a bad way. That's such a hard thing to learn about.
Yeah.
Like, he's just been trapped in prison and
he literally hasn't known anything
about what's going on outside.
Yeah.
And the first person he gets to talk to now has to tell him that his brother's gone.
I mean, I guess the only good thing is now he knows.
Yeah.
And Seth also is able to tell him that the dragon that did eat Dugan is dead. He says it was Navarog, but then Navarog got killed while in human form. And then Bracken's like, Navarog is dead?
Glancing at Maddox, he managed to restrain his obvious excitement.
Yeah.
Glad that he has some tact.
Oh, but Maddox plopped down on his creaky cot. He seemed to have suddenly aged. We play a deadly game. Something like this was bound to happen.
And Seth does a quick little head count in his brain. He thinks about Lena. He thinks about Vincent, who they just lost on the Obsidian Waste trip.
Yeah.
Like, if we just do a head count of the people we've lost in the past bit, there's Gavin's betrayal. We're
glad Gavin's gone,
but still, like, it's still losing a friend.
Yeah.
And then, if you're at the talking about the beginning, Lena lost her. Talking about Vincent, Laura,
all the people from Lost Mesa.
All the people from Lost Mesa. Just
this is something that Kendra thinks about a lot and weighs on her a lot. But now it's weighing on Seth.
It's a deadly game. And when the other side doesn't care about who gets hurt, you're going to lose friends.
Thinking about his family possibly dying, this is what galvanizes Seth into saying, what are our chances of busting out of here? He is now motivated. And Bracken is like, Bleak, I've been trying for hundreds of years. And Seth is like, hundreds of years?
No, 100. Sorry, I'm thinking of like the
36 months.
No, 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Some of us never get used to the food, Bracken lamented.
Yeah. I like how he doesn't answer Seth's question.
Such a mood.
He just said he's hundreds of years old and he's been here for he didn't say he was hundreds. He's been here for hundreds of years. And then Seth is like, wait, what? And he's like,
the food sucks.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, you'll never get used to the food.
Way to give some hope there,
and Seth's
buddy.
like, wait, why? And they talk about, it's hard. None of the tunnels lead to the front, to the top. Like, we can't really mobilize down here. We've tried a few different, rebellions, and none of them have ever worked.
The only two that have gotten anywhere were cut off by a reinforced iron door until they surrendered due to starvation. And then another, they were subdued with noxious gas. And then, after that, there's always the punishments that come for said rebellion. And Seth's like, well, you got any magic? And Bracken's like, well, I can do a few things. And Maddox is like, nah, don't be modest. Tell the kid what you are. And you can tell he's just like, go on, tell him. And Bracken at first tries to deflect and be like, well, you're a shadow charmer. You can do some cool things, right? And Seth's like, not really. What are you? And Bracken's like, fine, I'm a unicorn.
I'm a unicorn. And Seth is like, what?
And Maddox is just like, yeah, that's right. This guy's a horse. So Seth, of course, doesn't believe it, and he initially just laughs it off.
He's like, no. Seriously.
What are you?
He's like, Seth considered Bracken skeptically. Don't unicorns usually have horns and, hooves and fur and all of that? This is my human form, Bracken said. Some unicorns have avatars, Maddox said, like dragons.
Can you switch back into your horse shape, Seth asked? My sister will be so jealous.
I can't, Bracken said. I surrendered my horn and thus am stuck as a human.
Lore drop!
Yep. Don't unicorns have 3 horns? Seth asked. Right, Bracken replied, appraising Seth as if he was impressed by his knowledge. Sort of like humans with baby teeth. We have 1 horn as a child, and we shed it for a larger horn in adolescence, and in turn shed that for our permanent adult horn.
But yours wasn't permanent.
It should have been, but I surrendered it.
And that's when we find out that he gave it to Agid and the other wizards who created the Prison of Zizix, and Seth, the brilliant boy that he is like, wait, the Font of Immortality? And Bracken's like, yep, it's made from my horn.
It's like, yeah, Bracken is impressed that Seth put that together. He's like, wow, good job. Yeah, actually.
This kid's been through some crap. He knows how to connect some dots.
He's not stupid. He can, yeah.
Yeah. So.
He's like, actually, I've seen the Font of Immortality. The Sphinx showed it to me after he healed me with the Sands of Sanctity. Max is like, wait. The Sphinx used the sands on you?
I love how Maddox is just like, what?
He's like, what is going on?
But of course, Bracken's got his fingers on the pulse and he's like, okay, I get it. He's trying to impress you. He wants you on his side.
I love Maddox Maddox balled his hands into fists. I wouldn't trust that skunk to scrub my toilet.
Me neither.
And then Seth is like, me neither. But we were talking about Bracken. He's like, I didn't forget.
We're still talking about magical creatures. He may not be a dragon, but it's still cool.
Bracken's clearly uncomfortable. And he's like, well, yeah, after I gave up my third horn, I could no longer revert to my true shape. I still had my second horn, which I could use as a weapon and which would retain many of my powers. But in the end, the Sphinx trapped me, forcibly took my remaining horn, and cast me into this dungeon. You must really hate the demons to have given up your permanent horn to those wizards, Seth observed. My kind exists in opposition to demon kind. We are protectors and creators. They are exploiters and destroyers. Where we would bring light, they bring darkness. In addition, I had personal motivations. The wizards convinced me that my horn was essential to make the demon prison as impervious as possible. They were not lying to me, but you can imagine my distress at my sacrifice might soon be all for naught.
Seth pounded a fist into his palm, which brings me back to my goal. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's bust out.
Let's rebel and get out of here.
And Bracken's like, all right, the world's about to end. Why not one more try?
Give an impossible jailbreak one more try. He is not super enthusiastic about their chances, but he's willing to give it a shot.
It's been hundreds of years and this guy hasn't found a way out. Can't even blame him.
That's the end of chapter 8.
Well,
we have finally been introduced to Bracken.
The boy himself.
So, yeah, for anyone who hasn't read past these chapters, you'll see why we love Bracken.
So back in like the second chapter that we did today, chapter, I believe 7, where Seth is having his existential moment because he's stuck in a bottle, I mentioned that Seth and Kendra were both having a moment during this section.
Oh, yeah.
So Kendra, at the beginning of this chapter, gets to have hers, but hers is for a different reason, and a completely valid one, to be fair. Because this chapter starts out with, Kendra knew the sun was up, but she hid under her covers regardless. She missed Lena, she missed Patton, she missed her parents, she missed her brother, and she was hesitant to confront a new day. That is a mood, and I'm 100% here for it.
It's sad because other than when she was like kidnapped by the society, she's never really been apart from Seth all that much in like Fablehaven adventure stuff. I guess other than like her stuff with the Knights of the Dawn.
Yeah.
But
even
still,
then, that wasn't like...
Most of the time, like, Seth is there.
Yeah, and it's not like Seth is captured, he's in peril, he could be dead and I wouldn't know.
Exactly.
And that's just absolutely terrifying. And so just like she has this moment, which I think really is a great moment for her character just in general, where she's just like, I don't want to get out of bed. And as someone who does not always want to get out of bed just because the bed feels nice, I can support that.
Well, I don't think it's just because the bed feels nice. I think it's depression or anxiety, you know.
Grief.
It's a lot of mentally and emotionally hard things that are just piling up on her. Mm-hmm. And it almost feels like she can't. But she knows she has to because she has to go speak with the Fairy Queen today, which is another big thing that's also weighing on her.
Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, we get this like entire list of all of the things that she's got to do, and she's just, and I love like the very end of this, not necessarily episode, but this moment, she says, all right, here we go. Within the close here I found the paragraph. Within the close space beneath her covers, Kendra reluctantly accepted that procrastinating these challenges would not make them go away. Something that I still need to remind myself of once in a while.
I feel like everyone does.
If she tried, she might fail, but hiding in her bed would certainly not bring her family home. Still, if she stole a few more minutes of sleep, her problems might temporarily melt from her mind. No. She kicked off her covers and rolled out of bed. The mere act of standing up helped her feel a bit more ready to tackle her upcoming obligations. Love that. Love that so much. Just nope, we're getting out of bed. We're getting up. We're doing this.
Face the day.
And I really like that it mentions, like, sometimes just standing up, just getting started makes the problems that you need to overcome seem so much more manageable.
A little easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Just perspective.
Yeah. I like that.
It's always easier to face the world standing up than laying down.
True. You should face problems head on.
Mm-hmm. Go, Kendra. Face the world with open arms.
Yeah. Take down that depression.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Coulter gets a zinger in here. So Kendra comes down from after getting ready for the day and finds the family eating pancakes. Coulter comes in right behind her and says, and I quote, "Uh-oh, Stan is fixing pancakes. Must be time for another death-defying mission."
Well, remember the last he made pancakes another time. It was like
I think it was before
it was
Worm
in book
Roost.
3.
Was it not also before Worm Roost?
Might have been. But I distinctly remember in like book 3 when like the Shadow Plague was going on, but it wasn't like quite all the way amped up. I feel like it's his way to like maybe lower the stress levels a little bit.
Well, yeah, and like it mentions that like when does it mention that Kendra's favorite pancakes are like apple something?
I think in book 3.
Is it book 3?
Yeah.
It must be like after Kendra gets back from Lost Mesa.
I think so.
Before she goes, they go and do something big.
Well, and the rest of this conversation is also really funny. Warren says, "Way to ease the tension."
The fact that he mutters it too, just way to ease the tension, jerk.
Can I have some, Coulter asked? Or are they only for the condemned? No pessimistic geezers allowed, Warren declared.
I love Warren so much.
So funny.
My goodness, the guy is great. Yeah. Kendra specifically mentions that her favorite are apple sometime in this series because it's
apple
in the
cinnamon or something.
Because it's somewhere. It's in the cookbook.
It's in book 3.
Yeah, and it's also in the cookbook as it
is.
being like the.
Now that we're talking about it, I'll just pull it right up.
Mm.
It's in Brownie Sunday, the very beginning. It says Kendra sat before a plate of hot apple pancakes dusted with powdered sugar, already satisfied after her third swallow. Like she's eating apple pancakes.
All right, and is that when it says that they're her favorite?
I don't know. But she's eating apple pancakes. So
All right, well, I'll take it.
I knew it was in book 3.
Is it for a specific reason? Like, does he
It's
make
after
them?
she gets back from Lost Mesa. It says that pancakes on Saturdays are like Saturday morning tradition.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Wait, doesn't it say
Anyway,
right after that
we
apple
are
were her favorite?
Getting so caught up on pancakes.
I'm hungry, okay?
I could tell.
I want them with peanut butter specifically. All right.
Would you like me to look if it says it's her favorite? Well, first of all, Seth is like, Kendra's like, "Oh, I think I'm done." And Seth's like, "Oh, I'll have hers. I'm not watching my figure or whatever for Gavin." Yeah.
I do remember that quote. So I just love, like, throughout the conversation, it mentions somebody took a bite of pancake or somebody passed a few more pancakes to somebody else or yada, yada, yada. And at the very end of the conversation, because they're discussing going to Stony Vale,
yeah.
which is a preserve in Scotland, they're not even telling the caretaker they're coming. It's
they're
only just been... They're
popping in and out to
pop in
get
and
to
pop
the
out.
fairy shrine.
And it mentions... I love this bit. Kendra's like, "Okay, I'm ready to go. Might as well get rolling. Just especially with the time difference, because they are going to Scotland from...
They're like 5 hours
Yeah, something like that.
faster.
And then
ahead.
Grandpa's trying to, like, make him feel good. Just, like, remember, like, you can just pop right back with the translocator. No worries. And then Grandpa opened a drawer in the kitchen and took out the translocator. "You're keeping it in a kitchen drawer?" Kendra asked. Grandpa shrugged. "Just for this morning. I wanted it handy." And then Coulter again with a zinger. "He wants you in Scotland before the post-pancake euphoria wears off," Coulter said, wiping his chin with a napkin.
Something like that, Grandpa admitted, passing the translocator to Tanu. That's funny.
Oh, man, I love this all. They're all trying...
Pancake euphoria.
They're all trying so hard not to, like, freak out over everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, valid.
It does no use to panic, but also maybe address the elephant in the room just a little bit.
Indeed. But now we got another funny one from Tanu and Warren.
Yeah.
"Are we going straight to the shrine?" Kendra asked. We've both seen the shrine at Stony Vale, referring to Warren and Tanu.
Yeah.
We've never actually approached it, or we wouldn't be here. But I've stood as near as any sane mortal would dare. We'll start you out very close. I haven't been quite as close as Warren, Tanu said. Probably because I'm a little bit saner.
It's like a game of chicken, honestly. Like,
I'll take a step closer.
how close can I get before she strikes me down and makes me dandelion fluff?
Last one there's dandelion fluff.
First one there's dandelion fluff.
Yeah. Good times. So yeah, they pop in close and Warren takes control. And they pop into this picturesque little area in Scotland. And Megan, please describe what the area might look like, as I am chronically under-traveled. Have you been to Scotland?
I've never been to Scotland.
I
wish.
You've been to England.
I've been to London.
Okay.
Which is nowhere like the Scottish countryside, but I mean, well, it says it right here. Ahead through the trees, she beheld a large glassy pond wrapped like a horseshoe around a narrow peninsula that gradually widened as it stretched farther from the shore. At the end of the peninsula were two rough, rectangular standing stones spanned by a third heavy stone. This formation instantly brought to mind pictures of Stonehenge. So,
nice and pretty.
Nice, picturesque Scotland. I can't really do a Scottish accent.
That was pretty darn good.
Scotland. I bet the Scottish people, if anyone's listening, they probably hate it. But
pretty much. The really only basis I
apologize.
have for a Scottish accent are
brave.
Precisely.
I'm sure the Scottish love that.
I'm told it's a pretty good it's a
Yeah.
good representation of their culture.
Fair.
I'm not gonna.
That's fair. I did watch. There's this one like guy on YouTube that like reacts to like movies, and he's Scottish, and I think I watched him react to Brave, and he's like, it's not bad. So,
well,
funny.
We'll take it. All right.
Okay, enough stereotyping Scotland based on
Yeah.
Pixar movies.
Yeah, let's move on from there. Let's see. So Kendra starts to approach, and Warren and Tanu fall back until a few seconds later, two dryads?
Dryads.
Not hamadryads.
I feel like they're dryads because they're like really tall.
What was the difference? One was like the spirit of the forest, one spirit of a specific tree.
An hamadryad's to a specific tree, and then a dryad is to like a general like forest or area, nature area.
Okay, gotcha. All
I feel like dryads are like taller, more mature, more intimidating. Because like I remember like the hamadryads, they flirt a lot more with like the satyrs,
Okay.
and the dryads like don't care.
That'd be interesting to pull out the Caretaker's Guide to Magical Creatures and see what it would say about the difference between the two. But that's
Don't have
not a
that
problem for
handy.
now. All right. So of course, since they're both holding heavy wooden staffs, Warren and Tanu come sprinting back up because
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay.
heaven help the person who lays a finger on Kendra at this point.
They start talking to the dryads.
They do,
And they're
Kendra's
like,
trying to leverage her connections to get in.
Yeah. And they're like, this is sacred ground. You cannot be here, And Kendra explains that she is, very kind. Well, first of all, she understands the dryads as they're speaking in like a different language. And they're like, wait, you understand us?
It's always funny when they are like, wait a second, what's going on
Yeah.
here?
And then they're like, okay, wait, we have heard of you. So I guess we'll let you pass,
She even gets a level of deference here.
That's
honestly.
true, she does.
When like she says, I am very like Kendra even like goes for like the full throw her weight around a little bit. She's like, I am very kind, a servant of the fairy queen. These are my companions. Goes for like the formal speech.
Yeah.
And then one of the dryads is like, oh crap, her posture became less threatening. I apologize for our abrupt greeting. These are troubled times, and it has long been our task to protect this shrine. We've heard of you, but did not recognize you. We now see that you belong among us.
We have never encountered a mortal quite like
we
you.
never, that's true. She does say that. And so Kendra's just like, thank you. Protect my buddies. I gotta go.
Yeah. So she's using her fairy kind status to gain entry.
And I love Warren after the dryad step aside. He's like, I couldn't really follow the conversation, but good job.
Yeah.
He just whispers to her like,
So there's
sounded good.
chilling while she goes up to the shrine.
All right, so she heads up to the megaliths, monoliths.
Monolith.
Oh, it says
Oh, it says
megaliths.
megalith.
I don't know.
What's the difference?
I don't know. They're one stands alone, other's big. I'm looking at
Other is like a group? I don't know.
like mega versus mono.
Yeah,
Like a monolith is
yeah,
singular.
monolith is one. So megalith, yeah. The
So-
three, the Stonehenge.
Monolith, megaliths. Maybe that's the plural. I don't know. We're gonna move
I
on.
don't know.
We're moving on from there.
We could Google it, but I don't really want to.
Yeah. So she finds a little fairy shrine underneath the stacked monoliths. I'm just gonna say it, whatever.
Megaliths.
Underneath the stacked megaliths, and so she gets close, and then the fairy queen contacts her, and immediately is just like, "Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
we need to talk."
I'm pleased you came. Yeah, fairy queen speech.
And
And Kendra's like, well, the society's getting closer to opening Zizix. The Sphinx kidnapped my parents and my brother. I'm worried he'll use the Oculus to get everything he needs to open the prison. Can you help? And the fairy queen explains that she still has a connection to the Oculus since she helped Kendra get out of it. And she knows that the Sphinx has a mentor, and it's the demon Nagi Luna. So now we already knew about Nagi Luna because the Sphinx talked about her in the other chapter, but now Kendra knows. So she talks about kind of like what she's able to glean from the Oculus, from Nagi Luna and the Sphinx.
Which is unfortunately not much anymore
yeah.
because they noticed that she was peaking, basically.
Yeah.
They both they both possess firm minds, so now only when they specifically look at the fairy realm can the fairy queen get any idea of their intentions. Mm-hmm. And so, however, before they shut her out, she was able to get some interesting information about both Nagi Luna and the Sphinx. She knows that between them they have an interesting relationship, that Nagi Luna has been guiding the Sphinx, but also as the Sphinx continues to reach out to the world using the Oculus, Nagi Luna has been using that connection, that guidance, to then reach out by herself and talk to people without the Sphinx being aware of it. It says, her communications were inscrutable to me, for she used the secret language of demons, but I am sure she conversed with others of her kind. With the aid of the Oculus, she may have even reached some of those fell entities inside of Zizix.
That is huge. Mm-hmm. That's really bad because the fairy queen, she also said that she knows that Nagi Luna is like in some kind of confinement, but that she's using the Oculus, like you said, to reach out to these other demons and communicate, which is very bad for our side.
And we also know just from the conversation with the Sphinx that the Sphinx feels like he is controlling her, that he's in control of the situation.
Yes.
And like he's like, I'm in control, she's still under containment, I've got this taken care of. Seth, on the other hand, is being much more wise and being like, dude, she's a demon, get your head in the game.
Yeah. Like this part that the fairy queen says, she says, both the Sphinx and Nagi Luna feel certain that victory is near, but their versions of victory are not aligned. Each seeks to use the other to different ends. The Sphinx has a tightly woven plan to release the demons of Zizix on his terms. I failed to uncover the particulars, but I feel certain that, to some degree, he means well, misguided as his intentions may be, which we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. But Nagi Luna But Nagi Luna has a scheme of her own, a vision of unbridled darkness and mayhem like the world has never known. The Sphinx is no fool, but I fear her cunning may be superior. So.
And it's interesting because the Sphinx is aware that Nagi Luna is not on his side.
Yes.
And we'll get a little bit extra on that in the next chapter, but it's just interesting. Like, the fairy queen's just like, I've seen them both, and I know that one stone is definitely heavier than the other.
Yeah, she recognizes what the Sphinx is unwilling to, in that Nagi Luna is most likely to be able to best him.
Yeah. So, But then, of course, I love the second bit where the Fairy Queen's like, regardless, whoever succeeds, or like, regardless of which one succeeds, we still fail. So we need to stop them both.
Yeah, and Kendra's like, well, we do have 2 artifacts, so that's something.
But then she also pokes the bear, where she says, because the Fairy Queen's like, to keep them safe, my feud with the demons is eternal and deep and ancient, etc. And then Kendra says, Raxus told me they destroyed your husband.
Well, that was very tactful.
Yeah, she could use some.
She could have maybe said that in a little bit better way. I don't know.
Just like,
maybe a little better.
I've been told you've lost people to the demon. They just be a little bit less. So I heard your husband's dead.
Yeah. Well, and then it says, grief washed over Kendra so deep and forlorn that she felt she would drown in it. When the sensation passed, she gasped for breath. So we already know, like, the Fairy Queen feels very deeply, and, like, Kendra's just getting a little taste of that.
Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, the next paragraph with the Fairy Queen talking completely omits any reference to her husband. It just says...
It says, my consort.
That's true. But, like, she doesn't address that at all. She doesn't address the grief. She just says, my struggle with them predates that by a long time. She just completely steps around the grief and focuses on the matter at hand. Just like,
so we call avoiding the problem.
Indeed, avoiding the elephant in the room, as we mentioned earlier. The Fairy Queen mentions that her priority is to protect her realm and her followers, but interestingly, that includes defending the mortal realm, like Earth itself, because they are connected. If your world should fall, my realm would essentially become a prison unattached to any living sphere. For both of our sakes, we must thwart the opening of Zizix.
That is so interesting, that the fairy realm is, like, connected only to Earth.
With the shrines.
The shrines. And without it, it would just be, you know. It makes me wonder...
It kind of makes me...
what it is exactly.
Yeah.
Is it like a pocket dimension? Is it like a separate place connected to Earth? Is it, I don't know.
Is it kind of like the 5 Kingdoms, the Beyond?
Wait.
What's the name of the Beyonders?
The Toravors?
No, what's their land called?
Oh, Lyrian?
That's it, Lyrian.
Yeah, but that's like a different, like,
but that's what I'm saying.
Universe?
Is it similar?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what is it?
My best guess is that it's similar to Lyrian.
But the thing is, there's things later in book 5 that...
Of Dragon Watch, you mean?
No, of this.
Oh, you mean of this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that, talks about it.
Because it's covered.
Okay, I'm going to say spoilers just in case we keep this in. Okay, spoilers for rest of book 5 of Fablehaven and all the way through Dragon Watch as well, so for everything.
Let's just throw in Beyond.
And okay, spoilers for everything then.
We're going to pull from
We're trying to theorize. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so... because later, after they switch the fairy realm and the demon prison, they say that the demon prison has a lot more space.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's a finite amount of space, and it doesn't feel like another planet or world. It feels like almost like the knapsack, but on a giant scale. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's similar to 5 Kingdoms, because 5 Kingdoms, it
like
exists,
the outskirts?
Yeah. Because it exists as like a...
But that's like an in-between. I guess it is kind of in-between.
And it was created.
Yeah. So, like we said, and later in book 5, when they switch the fairy realm and the demon prison is like a bigger. They say it's like bigger than the fairy realm, but it feels more finite. And so to me, it doesn't feel like another world like Beyonders, like Lyrian. It feels more like a pocket dimension of some sort. Similar to the
fairy, not the fairy, the
Underking?
Yeah, kind of like the Underking. He has his own little realm.
Yeah, and that's also what I'm wondering about.
The fair folk, that's what it is. The fair folk.
Oh, like Salona?
Salona, yes.
Yeah, I don't actually know how that place works either.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's all of these.
Like, is it just the only way to enter is that? I don't know. There's
Or
a lot of
giant
different
kingdom,
things
too.
But I feel like that's actually at a place, kind of like on its own island. So
Is
I feel
it?
like that. Yeah,
Man, we need to reread Dragon Watch.
it is on its own island.
Or at
The
least I do.
the underrealm, the Underking's realm. I don't remember what it's called. It's
I thought it was just Underworld. But I guess-
Underworld, Hades.
I don't
know. I think it's called like the Underking's realm. Anyway, I feel like that also feels like more like a place than the fairy realm. But I guess it has to be similar, right? I just don't understand. Like, I wish he would define it. I guess we can add this to the questions
Yeah.
that we have. Kind of like what. How would you define the realms of the rulers? Like the fairy realm? Is it
Because we have fairy, giant, under.
dragon,
Dragon,
which is, okay,
and-
the dragons have the sanctuaries.
Who am I missing? Aren't there 5?
Yeah, there's the fairy queen, the under king, the giant queen, the dragon king,
And the fair. The
and
fair folk. Isn't it fair folk the 5th? I'm wondering the same thing about myself. I thought the fair folk was the 5th.
Man, we're supposed to know. Is the fair folk the 5th? Maybe
I
it
thought it
is.
was.
Maybe it is. We really do need to read Dragon Watch.
That's what I'm saying. Mulverse Wiki 5 rulers. The Great Monarchs. Demon.
We're stupid.
You're so stupid.
I was like, are we dumb? We are dumb.
We are so stupid. You know what's funny? I didn't even have to scroll through. As I opened up the page, I saw at the bottom, it was like, ooh, recommended pages. Muriel Taggart, Bahamut. And that's what triggered it in my brain. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the demons. I'm stupid.
I
Somebody-
quit.
somebody-
I quit.
Somebody listening right now is probably
Everyone
just
is yelling at us, being
Like-
like, are you guys qualified to do this? Are you stupid? Do you not even know? Apparently not. Apparently we're talking about the literal book called Keys to the Demon Prison, and we forgot about the Demon King.
Yeah, we should just move
Yeah.
past that.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Sorry, we're dumb. Okay, I wrote down the question.
Thank you.
Okay. How would you define the realms of the 5 rulers and explain their physical connection to Earth?
Perfect. Love
Okay.
it. Thank you for being sane.
Oh, yikes. I need a second.
Man, neither of us had the brain cell there.
Nope.
It was just
The brain cell is gone.
the brain cell is just floating around.
It's on vacation.
It is gone.
It went to Disneyland and didn't come back with you.
Oh man, that was embarrassing. That was
That was
bad.
insanely embarrassing. I can't believe both of us were like, wait, what? I was like, it's not the fair folk.
It makes me wonder, honestly, if Zizix was originally a realm, and then it got turned into
a prison?
A prison. Like they trapped them all inside their
Yeah.
home realm, and just made a lock.
And it was just kind
they
of
just
like
put a lock on the
open
door.
to the world, basically. And
yeah,
they
that was
just-
originally where they would come out, and so they just put a lock on the door.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. Also, there's like other things that they mention. Like, I'm trying to remember. Do you remember the part where I don't know if you remember this? This isn't Dragon Watch.
It's gonna
Where
be rough.
Kendra learns more about Ronodin's past.
Yes, where it turns out that
he like travels somewhere. Where was that? Was that somewhere on Earth, or was this another like?
that's when he was trying to
realm.
get the Wizen Stone, right?
I don't remember what it was, but all I remember is like he like went somewhere.
Got tricked.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like there's these places that I'm like what are they? What are they?
I don't know. I would love to know. Maybe there is a dragon realm somewhere. Maybe there are.
No.
But what if there was and we just don't know where it is? Maybe the
Oh,
dragons
and we
have
went
lost
through
it.
all of Dragon Watch. Why would he not mention it? It would be about the dragons reclaiming that realm. Why not just put all the dragons in the realm?
Maybe it's a retcon? I don't know. I would love
Oh, but he would have addressed it
Yeah.
if it was a thing.
That's
It's
what I'm
not a
saying. Maybe
thing.
he retcons it in the future and there are actually
Oh, but that's a
5
huge
realms.
retcon.
But it would actually
That
fit,
changes
though.
like the whole series.
If there's a fairy realm and a demon prison / realm, and I think the Underkings really has a realm. Like, that feels more...
It is like a realm. Because the way that she gets in, she has to get past, like, that one dragon.
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
Yeah.
Rip to the merman who sacrificed himself to get him through, though.
Yep.
And then...
It is like a separate realm.
Don't they have to go through a portal to get to the giant realm?
But it feels more real to me.
But it's still a realm, I think.
Yeah, but it feels more like it's in the physical world. Because it's also... But it's also the Titan... Like, the Titan sanctuary. It's a sanctuary.
Oh, it is a sanctuary. You're right.
And the queen is the caretaker. So it is part of the real world. It just probably is like distractor spells stuff and whatever.
But wasn't there like a realm that was like destroyed by the Wizened Stone? Or like when the Wizened Stone was split?
Wasn't it like above in the air or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a thing. So there was a giant realm.
We need to freaking reread Dragon Watch. Everyone is cringing right now at our inability.
This is really bad.
Man. Sorry, guys.
What if Earth was the dragon realm?
This is so bad.
What if Earth or Salona? What if Salona was the dragon realm, but then it got kicked?
But it's the fair.
But what if they got kicked out by the fair folk?
But that's not how it works, Jessica.
We don't know that.
Yes, we do. He already wrote the series.
You could just go back further.
Stop trying to retcon his own canon.
I just think it would make sense if all of them had their own realms.
Well, the dragons used to roam free.
Maybe they had their own realm, and then they were like, "Eh."
Oh, maybe the dragons were like the last to get like a monarch. Because I feel like it would have started with like light and dark, you know, like the fairy queen and the under king. They're like, that's kind of what they talk about when Kendra goes and like faces the under king.
Cool
is it's like the balance, you know, like facing each other basically. So. I guess
I feel like Fairy Queen, now that you mention it, Fairy Queen's pulling like triple duty because it feels like her realm is like diametrically opposed foes to...
You said diametrically opposed, it's like that's Hamilton.
Diametrically opposed to both the Underking and the Demon King.
That's probably why she needs a break and takes a break at the source.
That's fair.
For the Alder Fairy. She's like, tap out. I need a break. It's your turn.
That's probably valid. Yeah.
It's kind of how it goes. Darkness has more allies sometimes. Okay.
Honestly, dragons at this point, because they seem to be pretty much not nice either. Okay.
Okay. Are we done talking about realms, or...
Yes, I definitely still have questions, though, but we may continue.
We said we were going to do spoilers for, like, Beyonders and Five Kingdoms, so do we want to talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. So, with the idea of, like, the outskirts is, like, in between.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't really make sense, I feel like, for the realms to also be, like, an in-between of everything. I feel like it still has to be connected to Earth.
I believe it is. I think in the similar way that whatchamacallit, that Lyrian is connected to Earth. Because yes, the outskirts exist in like that in between, like the outskirts are basically like the wood between the worlds, and then all of the pawns are like the different realms of the Moleverse. According to Wiki.
But it's not as easy. Like, that's a decent metaphor, except once you come to the outskirts, it's hard to leave, you know?
Yeah.
Like you get drawn back.
Yeah, I'm just using it as like...
because, like, the outskirts are part of the Echo Lands, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be part of the final destination.
Yeah.
And so... it's supposed to be, like...
So that's why I'm like, it's not quite the same as the outskirts, because we know the outskirts were changed through shaping and, like, the different... like, the living part of the outskirts versus the Echo Lands, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they were shaped.
Yeah, the outskirts are something different, but, like, the Echo Lands themselves act as kind of like the King's Cross Station in Harry Potter in Book 7, as well as, like, the wood between the worlds. It's like those two things had, like, a... But they're still
the people aren't dead in the realms of the monarchs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Five Kingdoms, I think it's less connected, but Lyrian, on the other hand, I think is the most comparable, especially when you mention how... not Like, especially when you think about how in the Beyonders series, it mentions that in the past, there were a lot more connectors. There were a lot more different ways to get between the realms. And I wonder if it's similar to what happens in Book 5 of Fablehaven. The Fairy Queen goes through and she starts demolishing her shrine. She starts getting rid of her connections to the outside world. And it's just...
I understand what you're saying.
Maybe that's part of what allows the Fairy Queen. She needs to be connected to Earth, because otherwise the same thing that happens with Lyrian and Earth happens to the Fairy Realm and Earth, where like time becomes disconnected. They don't go linearly.
Yeah, but it still feels different though.
I feel like
because Lyrian is literally a whole nother like world, planet, universe.
So is Salona.
But is it though? Isn't it just like an area that has like insane distractor spells basically? Or like a pocket dimension? One of the two. I feel like they feel more like giant I hate saying pocket dimension, but it just feels like a giant scale of that, because Lyrian is literally a different world. And the realms feel more finite. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, the Earth is finite.
You might bring that up. Technicality.
Well, I'm just saying.
But you know what I mean? Like, it feels like a different planet. Okay. I was trying to think of like the Cosmere or something to explain this.
It feels comparable though.
But the realms, they have a connection to Earth. And I feel like Beyonders, we just know about the connection to Earth. It could be connected to other worlds that we don't know about yet.
I would be really interested to see how, because we know that Earth and Lyrian are connected.
Yes.
Because A, there's travel between them, and B, people who die in Lyrian can go to
the
Echolands. It takes a lot of draw. It takes a lot of pull. And like, because the Hall of Heroes, it specifically draws them in because they were heroic in life.
Yeah.
But it can happen. This would be a lot easier if we knew that like somebody from Salona or from the Fablehaven universe had ended up in the Echolands.
Okay, but this is where I still struggle to believe that the Earth in Beyonders and Five Kingdoms is the same Earth as Fablehaven. I'm still not convinced.
I would agree, but I think the Newell and Doran book gives enough.
It gives a little more, but
it makes me feel like they go all in the same place.
I still go back to the fact that Atomic doesn't work on Earth, and that magic seems to be suppressed more in like Beyonders and Five Kingdoms, whereas in Fablehaven it's everywhere, and we're just blind to it, or we're distracted by it, and that's where I really struggle to believe that it's the same Earth.
Yeah. I just go back to what it talks about at the end of Newell and Doran, where like he hears music, a calming tone calling to him.
It's the freaking multiverse, Jessica.
And it feels like that's like
everything.
It feels like the whole
is
song.
Either the Cosmere or the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
I lean on the side that they're all connected, just because I feel like that'd be a lot more fun.
I know that's probably what he wants it to be, but he's gonna have to work a little harder to convince me, because the way he set it up is not quite.
Well, I mean, Kendra and Steph never use magic spells. Like something, neither does Warren. Like they had to be changed.
But the wizards do.
Yeah, but they're dragons.
Yeah, but the fact that magic exists in any aspect on Earth, but the other aspects that it doesn't exist on Earth in like anything from the outskirts in magic doesn't really work, or it doesn't work for very long. Also, it's not the same. Like, it just can't, you can't have magic from one thing work and then have it not work in another. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like it has to be all or nothing. But, okay, there's this part in Beyonders that it's where Maldor is talking about Earth to Rachel. And I feel like he says something along the lines of, magic, does not work on Earth. Or something like that. Like, your realm is just not conducive to it, basically.
And maybe that's true of Adamic. Or it's true of the Torivorian? Torivorian version. But, or shaping. Shaping doesn't work. And shaping's different because that's meant to be like,
Shaping's meant
create
to be
your own paradise before you go to
you're dead.
I
don't know.
But maybe Fablehaven magic does. I don't know. Maybe they're just meant to be separate worlds and not meant to interact.
Hey, what about Candy Shop War? Might as well bring that in. We've definitely talked about this before, but
this is true.
In one of the early episodes of this podcast. But, you know, it's been a couple years. We might as well bring it back up again.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I want them to be.
We need to do another. I want them to be too. But I need more evidence.
Yeah.
I need more evidence from the Beyonders and Five Kingdoms side to connect Fablehaven.
Before you mentioned Five Kingdoms, I was like, is this your plug to ask for a second Beyonder series?
I will always ask for another Beyonder series. He has talked about it for years. It's not happening yet, but
you're waiting.
I will wait forever for it.
All right.
Anyway, okay, I feel like we've yapped about this long enough.
We have. I think we do.
I don't know if this is still interesting to you guys, or you're yelling at us for things. You're probably like, oh, well, what about this part you're not thinking of? If there's something that we're missing,
please.
Not the Demon King. Please don't comment that. I already feel stupid enough. But
actually, go ahead.
Go ahead. Fine. Whatever. It's fine. But put down in the comments if you first of all, if you think that Fablehaven is the same Earth as Beyonders and Five Kingdoms and Candy Shop War, and if there's anything that we're missing when talking about the crossovers of
that you
magic and the different series and everything.
That supports one way or the other.
Yeah, because we didn't come into this episode thinking about it, so these are just things worth pulling off the top of our heads. So we weren't really
pretty well.
We weren't really as prepared for this discussion. It just kind of led to this on accident. So, which is what happens.
Yeah.
A lot of these theory sessions that we have, it just kind of happens. But yeah. End of spoilers.
Yes. 20 minutes later.
So basically the Fairy Queen is like, okay, I'm going to give you the help of my Astrids to help you in your quest. And so she has Kendra drink from the spring, and then like magic wind or whatever comes and
magic wind again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We talked about it last episode a lot.
And Kendra now has the ability to like change the Astrids, and something kind of crazy is that the Fairy Queen says that she destroyed 3 of her shrines to give her that power, and I'm like, oh man, you mean business.
This is end of times.
Yeah, this is worst case scenario.
All right, a really quick thing to mention before she says that to Kendra. It mentions like Kendra's like, what do you recommend we do? What do you think is the best option? Kendra does not ask for this power, and then but after she asks that, like what they should do, she hears, there came a pause. The world seemed utterly at rest. No wind, no sound. When communication resumed, the words came slowly. And like we know from previous books that the Fairy Queen still has not forgiven the Astrids for failing in their job, which was to protect the Fairy King. And so, like, you can really feel how important and how difficult this decision is for her, where she's just like, this is our last chance. This is worst case scenario. Zizix could be opened again. And she just has to put aside this personal grief and anger that she has and just say, we need to work together and we need to put all our cards on the table. Here's a resource that I'm willing to give to you.
Yeah. And so, yeah, she destroyed her shrines to give her Kendra this power. And she says to Kendra's like, don't destroy your shrines. Like, that's crazy.
That seems a little extreme.
Yeah. But the Fairy Queen says, the hour has come to unite and make sacrifices. We must oppose the release of the Demon King and his unsavory followers from their confinement. The fate of our world hangs in the balance. Go, Kendra. Be brave. Be wise. I really like that.
I do like that. And I also like to mention that when Kendra drinks from the spring, she feels the energy that's inside her. Because normally
Yeah.
she's completely blind to it. The only
True.
evidence that she ever has of like the energy inside her is the fact that she can see in the dark. And what other magical creatures say about her, like, geez, lady, turn it down. But like for that one moment as she drinks from the stream, it says she felt conscious of the tremendous reservoir of magical energy inside of her. She felt like a thundercloud charged to release a blazing onslaught of lightning.
That's cool.
I just liked that little bit. Like, I always love when Kendra's abilities get brought up. And I just love this little insert that kind of describes how Kendra interacts with that power.
Yeah.
Like, she just sees herself as this, like, not necessarily just a battery, but, like, a thundercloud that can strike
awesome.
anywhere that it needs to. So, cool.
It's very cool.
All right.
I mean, she's giving literally invaluable, she's doing something that's super invaluable. No one else can go talk to the Fairy Queen and get this power from her. It's only Kendra can do that. So I just want to emphasize that.
Mm-hmm. Kendra, cool.
So Kendra, done with the talk with the Fairy Queen. So she goes back, and Warren is like, "Any luck?" Warren asked, wary gaze shifting from Dryad to Dryad.
At least he has more self-control than his ancestor.
I was about to say he's broken the curse.
Kendra relays some of the information. She doesn't
Talks
know where
about
the
the
Sphinx.
Astrid.
She doesn't know where the Sphinx has has her family.
Talks about the Astrids.
Yeah, looking for, because she's like, are there any that are on this preserve, or like they remember that there were a few at Wormroost. And Warren's like, so maybe we don't go hunting Astrids right now. Let's just get back to Fablehaven and regroup.
Yeah, and so they do. And they go back, and the ones that were left are like, did it all go well? And Kendra's like, yep, it did, honestly. And she tells them all that she learned about Nagi Luna and her new power to restore the Astrids. And interesting, Grandma says that she's never heard of Nagi Luna, which I find interesting. You know?
I think it makes sense in the fact that she was imprisoned on the top secret, most secret
that's a good point.
preserve in the world that, like, unless you've stepped foot in this preserve, you don't know
Yeah.
anything.
Well, yes.
And 90% of the time, if you walk in, you do not come
It also feels like Nagi Luna was kind of important before, but I guess we don't know how long she's been imprisoned.
But and also, I think it's interesting to note that, like, she's not described like Bahamut or Graulas, who use brute force and power to reign over subjects.
She uses manipulation.
She's more of a whisper in the ears, puppet master behind the scenes kind of controller. And so I think that actually makes it's actually kind of interesting.
It is.
Where maybe her name isn't as well known, but her influence is felt.
Ooh.
Mic
That
drop.
was ominous.
So basically they're at the point where Kendra mentions like that she can restore Astrids, but there aren't any on Fablehaven since the shrine there was destroyed, and there's no guarantee that the ones at Wormroost would be anywhere near somewhere that they could find them.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, you know what, we're just gonna have to.
Yeah, Tanu puts it well. He says, Tanu whistled. 87, huh? It's a big world.
Yeah, there was just no way that they can.
There's no way to really track him down, yeah.
So, what can you do?
Well, we can go talk to Vanessa. That's what we could do.
This is true. I also love this really quick line. It mentions, kind of going with what I was saying earlier, the Fairy Queen had a major grudge against them. The fact that she's restoring them means she's really worried about the Sphinx succeeding. So,
yeah.
like, enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like,
true.
At this point, we don't, like, maybe we weren't friends before, but
all bets are off.
All bets are off. Nothing matters. We just gotta keep this prison closed.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what they go to do.
Yeah. And speaking of my enemy is my friend, we finally decide to go talk to Vanessa. And Kendra's like, well, I just talked to the Fairy Queen. I feel like I'm kind of on a roll here. Let's keep this going.
And of course, who's gonna tag along?
Grandma. Of course she would.
That woman will never let her family members out of her sight in the vicinity of Vanessa. My goodness. She does not trust that woman.
All.
Which, I mean, is fair. But also, during this conversation, Vanessa brings up a very interesting point about whether or not she's trustworthy. Like, besides the fact that she has been giving them information throughout, like, her imprisonment since she's been released from the quiet box. Like, she helped to find Kendra. She's been giving tidbits and pieces about the different...
She stopped the Maddox sting bulb.
Yes, she has done things to extend trust.
She's done a lot.
And then she also mentions, like, do you think that I would be in here if I was really earnest about getting out?
Yeah.
Kendra's like, well, you're in the prison. She's like, I can control Tanu when he sleeps.
She could get out so easily.
So easily. Just wait till everybody
so many
falls
times
asleep.
she could have gotten out.
But she's just like, why else would I be staying here?
Yeah.
And so, which I mean, the answer could easily be because you're waiting to help betray us to the Sphinx again.
Yeah,
but
biding your time, but...
Yeah. But anyway, so the conversation that they have is regarding Vanessa's final secret that she has mentioned. And I think we've talked about already in this episode. Like, she has this one final card that she's keeping close to her chest.
Yeah, that was what Patton suggested to try and get her final secret out, if possible.
And in order to try and do that, they have been making sure that she is quite comfortable in this cell. Because, yes, she's in a prison, but there's thick carpeting now covering the floor. She has shaded lamps.
She's like a sound system, doesn't she?
And impressionist paintings on the walls, plants, and a refrigerator, an exercise bike, a Swede beanbag chair, and an impressive sound system. Yeah, sound system.
Sounds a lot better than Living Mirage.
Indeed. Like Seth, like with his pee hole and meat brick. I don't think we talked about the pee hole.
I mean, I guess they do have the rec room with the...
Is that next paragraph?
That's next chapter. Yeah.
But like, seriously, they give him a rec room with a TV, but not like a food. Like
they could. I think the best thing they could do is put like a toilet in there. Or
that's
something.
What I'm saying.
Not to skip ahead to the next chapter, but seriously,
like give me like improved food, and I will be way less likely to try and stage a rebellion.
I would choose indoor plumbing over foosball and television any day.
Oh my gosh.
Or like a shower, or I don't know.
Maybe the rec room has those kinds of things.
Maybe.
But then there'd be a line, let's be honest. Everybody would never want to be in their cells.
How would they get more toilet paper?
Well, how'd they get the foosball table
in
there?
That's true.
All right, so...
This is such a funny conversation.
Brandon doesn't know what he's done.
He's like, no one's ever thought about this before. That's what we're here to do.
All right, so they mention... So Kendra goes in to talk to Vanessa, and eventually their conversation devolves into 20 questions where Kendra's just like, maybe I can figure out what the secret is.
Is it bigger than a bread box?
And Vanessa's just like, yes, it is. And then Kendra's next question, of course, is how big is a bread box?
That was funny. I do like Vanessa's, like, her logic for not giving her secret yet makes sense.
Well, originally, yeah. Sorry, yeah, go for it.
Oh, it's okay. Were you going to say something before she explains it?
No, I was going to mention something, but I figured you were going to get to it. Just go for it. Sorry.
Well, she says, Kendra, I'm not trying to torture you. I'm not even trying to torture your grandparents, who I like a lot less.
Love that comment.
Like Grandma someone said.
I can hear Grandma through the door saying, feelings mutual.
Yeah. At first, I held on to the secret because it mattered, and I knew it might provide leverage to get me out of here. But ever since the Sphinx recovered the Oculus, I've been so grateful that I kept my mouth shut. My silence just might save all of us. My secret represents our last best chance to stop the Sphinx and recover your family. That will have to suffice. And I really like that because she's like, because the Sphinx has the Oculus, information is a lot harder to keep like tight and secret because you never know who may be listening in. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, that makes sense.
When your enemy can spy on you and you have no idea when he might be looking at you, whenever or like just at any time.
Like you can't trust anything. Really.
It's not even that you can't trust the person across from you. It's that you
can't
trust.
Not what I mean. You can't trust the situation.
Like you can trust every person in your vicinity, but you can't trust that he's not looking.
Yeah, which is why it's so good that they have the chronometer. So they can go back in time where they can't be spied on.
Which is
literally the only safe place.
Kendra gets close where when in the course of the 20 questions, she says, is your secret a person? And then Vanessa just says, this game is over. And so that is all we have now, is that we know that it's a certain person.
It is interesting. She's not lying. She's just not answering, which means she's not ready to lie.
Yeah.
Which is a good indication.
But at the same time,
Just
I
a
feel like
little
that
bit.
also makes it even more tantalizing of a secret.
Yeah. But like she said, it's not to torture her. She's not holding it back to cause distress.
Yeah.
She's biding her time.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa's good at reading situations, so...
Yeah, maybe she's not holding it back just to get out, but I mean, she knows it's probably her best bet.
Yeah.
All right, so end of chapter 9, coming on to chapter 10, unless there's anything else you want to mention.
No, just, I guess, the last thing. She says, sorry, Kendra. Vanessa Tentora may not be perfect, but she knows how to keep a secret.
Continuing on, Nagi Luna, chapter 10.
Last chapter of this section. Okay, can we just talk about how the parallels between Kendra visiting the Fairy Queen and Seth visiting Nagi Luna?
I did not think about that. That's so good.
It's so good. I wasn't thinking about it until earlier, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a parallel." The
It's
light,
like poetry, it
she gets her power from the Fairy Queen, and Seth gets his power from like the dark, the demon, technically.
A demon, yeah.
A demon, and like it's so good.
I do love that. That is really
Huge
really
parallels.
Good. It's like what Nafia said last book, light and dark sandwich.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, the chapters are a sandwich.
All right, so we start off the chapter.
Oh, and there's even almost like, I don't know if I'd say the Sphinx is like a mentor to Seth.
He wants
But
to be.
Vanessa has been a mentor to Kendra. So it's almost like it's not as strong of a parallel, but similar.
Yeah.
They both, I mean, they don't really trust Vanessa as
But
much, but they
Seth doesn't
don't trust the
Sphinx.
Sphinx. So, but no, the real parallel is like Kendra going speaking to the Fairy Queen, Seth going and speaking to Nagi Luna, who have both have access to the Oculus as well, which is another interesting thing.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. And they're both getting info dumps
Yeah.
of, hey, here, this is what you should do.
But we get this cool little lore thing from Bracken. He's able to use a coin as like a communicator. And so it begins with Seth being woken up by said communicator coin from Bracken. And because Bracken senses that, he says he's been alerted that the Sphinx is descending into our section of the dungeon. All things considered, he's probably coming for you. Don't relax around him. Keep your guard up. I'll extinguish the coin. Okay, so the Sphinx is coming to get Seth, and we know why, but Seth doesn't.
They're going on a field trip. And so
Down into the depths of the dungeon.
Seth gets led. Yeah, Seth notices that he's being led deeper into the dungeon, and he's like, "Where are we going?" And then the Sphinx drops. Nagi Luna wishes to meet you in person, and Seth is just—he doesn't quite stop, but he slows down. He's like, "That sounds bad. Like, I'm not sure I want to do. Can we just not like?"
Seth, you don't have an option, unfortunately.
And so, yeah, he just gets escorted down there along with with the Sphinx and some guards. And it's just, like, Bracken's warning of don't relax around him is now doubly valid.
Because he's heard about Nagi Luna, and so he knows the whole story of the Sphinx and Nagi Luna controlling that one servant that we talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm. Do not go in the circle.
Yeah, do not go in the circle. At least he knows that.
Interesting thing here, as they're getting closer, they descended a long staircase, yada, yada, yada. They passed intersections, the floor sloping constantly downward. At last they reached a squalid chamber with a grate in the floor. Leave us, the Sphinx told the guards, accepting a torch from one of them. Both guards looked pale. One was shivering. Both men hurriedly retreated down the hallway out of sight.
They're glad to get out of there.
They are so glad, but I love another little instance. Especially with her being out of the quiet box, she's probably radiating the fear
Oh, yeah.
that
the demons do.
Yeah, the demons do. And so
Yeah.
Seth and by
You're right.
implication, the Sphinx as shadow charmers would be immune to that.
I've never noticed that before. That's a good
I was
catch.
just rereading it and I just saw
You're
it.
right.
Literally in the past
yeah,
10
because they're
seconds.
both shadow charmers, so it wouldn't affect them.
But at the same time, just because they're not affected by the magical fear does not mean that they should not have healthy dosing
Yeah.
of actual fear. For which reason the Sphinx says, okay, I'll tolerate your wisecracks. She's not going to. Be polite. And just like, it's not even just like him trying to be like a good pupil. He's just saying she could kill you.
Like she will easily do it if she wants to. So.
And so, yeah. And he says right there, although I have dealt with her for centuries, I never enter her presence lightly. So he's not completely stupid, just mostly.
No, I mean, he doesn't like Nagi Luna. He uses her as a means to an end.
Or she uses him.
So, yes, both ways.
All right, so they head down into this little cell, and Seth looks at the quiet box. He notices that it looks older than the quiet box at Fablehaven, even though it doesn't look like it's going to decompose anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
And probably still has that assistant in there. I can't get over
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That
We were talking
poor
about that
guy.
earlier, yeah.
But yeah, we get another description of her, pretty much what the Sphinx said. Purple skin,
Shriveled old woman.
thin earlobes sagging to her shoulders. Ugh.
Yeah, this is gross.
Yellow eyes and gray claws. Yay. Love that imagery. Thanks, Brandon. All right, so...
Well, she is a demon, so...
Yeah. So she only speaks 2 or 3 sentences verbally.
Out loud, yeah.
And it's just to ask his name, if she frightens him, and then she comments, we were right, of course. This one is most unusual.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately she goes to a mental speech. And the fact that she...
Shout.
Yeah. Rude. But yeah, she just starts glaring at him and just verbally assaulting his mind with, like, questions about him being a shadow charmer. Like, she brings up Graulus and about how she feels like it was a mistake for him to make Seth a shadow charmer. And Seth
is a little triggered. He says, "Stop yelling at me," Seth demanded. "Or what? Or I'll throw rocks at you." So yeah, when Seth says he's gonna throw rocks at her, the Sphinx is like, "Oh."
the fact that Seth just says that he hears an intake of breath from the Sphinx, like,
yeah, just like, bro, don't say those things.
But then Nagi Luna is just cackling, and then she has the
Yeah.
line that I mentioned.
Yeah.
You have courage, I will concede that much. The words remained abrasive, but they came with less force. This one, she says, gesturing to the Sphinx, disgusts me. His naked fear makes me ill. Come, we are both prisoners here. Run to me. Enter my circle, we will unite against him.
Seth shook his head. Grant me permission to hear your thoughts. I will forge a connection so we can confer in private.
No way.
You would deny my aid? The words arrived more forcefully than ever. Seth put his hand over his ears, but it did nothing to muffle the mental tirade. Darkness seemed to gather around her. Some of the greatest figures in history have knelt before me. I have drowned navies. I have founded plagues. I have toppled monarchies. Who are you to deny me?
I'm the guy outside your circle, Seth said, resisting the urge to crouch and start gathering stones to throw. I love this boy.
So funny.
I also like to point out here how we just had Grandma Sorensen mention that she never heard of Nagi Luna.
Yeah.
And here she's over here boasting about all the things she's done. And I'm like, well, yeah, it can't be that great if we haven't even heard of you.
Well, I assume it's through other people because, as we know, she's been locked up here for a long time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And I mean, she mentions, like, some of the greatest figures in history have knelt before me. So,
yeah, exactly.
Like, maybe they were kneeling before her, but maybe other people didn't know that. They were taking credit or being blamed for her actions.
So yeah, she's kind of ragging on Growlithe, being like, yeah, he's so pathetic, he's about to die. Sucks to be him, basically.
But then she, again, is trying to now manipulate Seth by tempting him into the circle.
Everything's a manipulation, man.
With her, no doubt. And she even says, okay, now the Sphinx is not listening to our conversation. She's like, it's just us in this mind space. Answer me now with only yes or no, because he can speak out loud. He has to speak out loud, but Nagi Luna doesn't. And she's like, let Nagi Luna do the talking. Ugh, hate it. All right. And Seth tries to say, well, what if we just don't talk? And then Nagi Luna immediately claps back with a threat, being like, maybe I should talk with the Sphinx then. Maybe I'll mention the glowing coins and secret passageways. And Seth, of course, immediately has to fold because he has no reason to believe that she's bluffing.
Also, he doesn't know how much the Sphinx actually knows about it, because obviously he knows about the passageways, but doesn't know if he knows about the coins, doesn't want to get Bracken in trouble, so yeah.
Yeah, it's just sucky situation all over.
Basically, the Nagi Luna starts to lay it on thick. She's like, you could replace the Sphinx. You could eclipse him in your potential, more and more manipulation.
I wonder how much of that is true, though, if he actually does have more, not inherent, what's the word?
Potential?
There's another one that I'm looking for. More inherent potential?
Inherent potential?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just more potential. It says native in here. And she's basically saying, I could teach you how to use your abilities. Just have to trust me. We can work together to overthrow our jailer. So that's kind of the angle she's coming at, is that we're both prisoners.
Yeah.
Let's get out
together.
She
says you could free your family. Protect them, Again, we go back to using dark, evil intentions to do good. Doesn't work out.
Also, I also like, before she mentioned the family, the first angle she comes from is, we could overthrow the Sphinx and then rule the world without boundaries and cages. You could lead the world. You could rule the entire Earth. And Seth just goes, not interested.
Well, because that's the thing that worked on the Sphinx.
And probably
that was
all the other figures.
That was the angle that's worked before, but Seth's not interested, so she has to do a different angle.
Immediately goes to family, and he immediately goes to, what he goes to after that is, well, why would you help me? You've already admitted that the guy who's directly working to free your kind, that you're not on his side. Why would you be on my side?
Yeah.
And she brings up an interesting point. You think I care about opening the prison? Ha. That is the dream of our captor. You know what dwells inside that prison? Competition. If I had my freedom, I would be the most powerful demon in the world. Why would I want to spoil an advantage like that?
It is a good point, but it also is super, again, manipulative. She's just trying to convince him with however means necessary. Mm-hmm. She's like, I could train you. You could, mature in your powers, and she's like, you will find that I am no threat. She's just trying to be like, I can give you anything that you need, and you don't have to worry about me, basically.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, but I love at the end of the day, Seth is just like, just save it. I may be young. I might even be stupid, but I am not that stupid. Of course, implying that the Sphinx is that stupid, which I appreciate and agree with.
Well, he is.
And then she, of course, crashes out and starts just screaming at him.
Extreme crash out, yes.
Other men would beg for an opportunity like this. You think you matter, yada, yada, yada. You're inconsequential.
You've condemned your family to death.
Take whatever smug pride you can muster in denying me. You've sentenced your family. Yeah. Yada, yada.
Yeah. And Seth, to his credit, keeps his composure. He doesn't say anything else to Nagi Luna.
And of course, then she turns to the Sphinx and starts yelling at him.
Yeah.
And then the Sphinx just says, nope, we're out.
Yeah. He's like, no, this interview is over. And Nagi Luna is pissed. She is making her feelings known, but obviously she can't leave the circle, so she can only do it so much with words.
So they climb back up the rope ladder, and they get to the top, and interesting here, Seth helps the Sphinx shut the gate, I will help you do this because I don't want her
out of here.
And then the Sphinx just goes, she wanted your help overthrowing me? Yep.
And the Sphinx admits, he says, Nagi Luna is a manipulator. She employs every available tactic to find leverage. What she most desired was access to your mind.
And then Sith also recognized... Did I say Sith?
I think you did.
Then Seth, recognizing that the Sphinx is also a manipulator, says, well, if that had happened, did you want her to get that? And the Sphinx is like, I mean, if you'd said yes.
Yeah.
He's like, if you'd said yes, I would have taken advantage.
And he also says that she wanted the Sphinx to force Seth into the ring, but the Sphinx is like, that wasn't my purpose in bringing you there. Like, that wasn't why I brought you there, so...
He thought he just wanted her to study him. She did not want him to destroy. Wait.
To take him over.
Yeah, I think I said that wrong, but you got the idea.
Yeah. So back to the cell.
But can we also mention this little aside where Seth's like, do I have to go back to myself? Because, like, let's keep this in mind. This kid's, like, 12 or 13.
Yeah.
That is a 13-year-old just looking up at this, like, this man and just saying, do I have to go back in the cell? Which has no indoor plumbing, terrible food. He's probably starving at this point because he can't even eat what's being offered.
But the company's great.
That's the only perk here. But I'm just, like, thinking about this, like, the Sphinx has no heart, which is not a surprise.
I mean, we already talked about
this. We already
this.
knew this, but it just is extra apparent, like, him just being completely unsympathetic.
I do, like, after Seth's in the cell and the Sphinx is walking away, it says, Seth cupped a hand on the peephole, and he says, hey, I don't know who does your maintenance, but you've got a leaky roof in here. You might want to pass that along. I'm not sure where the water's coming from. Seems to be a limitless supply. And they're just walking away.
Then he starts talking to the cell. Hello, cell. How are you? Still dank and horrible? Sorry to hear it. Me, I've decided to take up a new hobby. Talking to my room. It's a lot like talking to myself, but slightly more pathetic.
As if in response, the wall at the back of the cell rumbled. A moment later, Bracken came through, bringing a white glow. Did you hear me? Seth asked.
Hear what?
Talking to myself?
No, but don't worry. Most of us end up chatting with ourselves on occasion. All part of the fun.
Yeah. And then Seth's like, well, the Sphinx took me to meet Nagi Luna.
And of course, Bracken, being a hundreds-of-year-old unicorn, is like, you're kidding.
And Seth's like, I wish.
And Bracken is immediately like, are you okay?
Because he knows Nagi Luna.
Mm-hmm. He knows demons.
Yes.
So
she's like, well, it didn't hurt me. She just screamed at me telepathically and tried to get me to join her. So, yeah.
But then Seth has to have another little crisis of
distrust.
Yeah, because, I mean, can you blame the guy?
Yeah. He's like, well, she was in my head, but what about when you use the coin? Are you, like, in my head reading my thoughts?
And more, Bracken doesn't really help his case by saying, yes, mostly, though, like, I can mostly only read the thoughts you send me.
Yeah.
Mostly is not helping your case here,
but
sir.
I feel like it's mostly when he's holding the coin, you know? Like, I feel like that's what gives Bracken the ability to read his thoughts.
Mm-hmm. But then Seth just having to just go and sit down and just be like, how do I know? How do I know who I can trust? How do I know you're not reading my mind when I'm, like, scouring my mind for secrets and I'm holding the coin? How do I know you're not doing it right now? And Bracken just has to be like, you don't know. You just have to, you have to choose what to risk or what to do.
But Bracken does say, like, you could hear her, but she couldn't read your mind unless you let her. Because she did ask for permission to enter his mind.
Speaking of Nagi Luna.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So she did have to have permission, and he gave Bracken permission. But it's not like Bracken can, like, take over his mind or speak to him always anytime he wants. He has to be holding the coin.
But at the same time, Seth doesn't know that. He's just having to have all of this, like, stress and anxiety about people being able to read minds around him and not knowing what everybody's capable of.
Well, to break the tension, Seth says, now I feel like I'm talking to a psychologist.
Tell me about your childhood. We should get a couch in here.
Yeah.
All right. So, but then another thing to catch Bracken's interest is that Seth mentions that Kendra has spoken with the Fairy Queen.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, wait, your sister? She's spoken with the Fairy Queen? He sounded keenly interested. Whoops, maybe I shouldn't get into that. I guess it's no big secret anymore. The Sphinx knows she's fairy kind.
And then Bracken, of course, goes, as everybody in the fairy world has been, oh, you mean fairy struck?
No, fairy kind. The Sphinx was the first to diagnose her, actually. I probably shouldn't talk about this stuff. Sounds like Maddox and the others haven't.
And Bracken's world just got rocked with
Yeah,
how rare
he's
that
like,
is.
wait. When did someone become very kind? What is going on? But he doesn't ask any further because he knows not to pry anymore, which is good.
With how distrustful Seth has to be right now, he can't even blame him.
Yeah.
So instead, he decides
He does mention that the status of fairy kind is very rare. And he talks a little bit about the fairy queen, but then when Seth is like, do you know her? Bracken gets really uncomfortable. And he says, all unicorns know the fairy queen.
Very vague. But
and then he changes the subject. And he says, come with me. I want to show you something.
And I love how, just thinking about this, like Seth was just expressing how how he can't really trust anything that Bracken's telling him because of everything that's going on. He's like, well, Bracken just thinks, well, I should probably apply to the 13-year-old boy in there. And so where does he take him?
Yeah, the rec room.
And so they go through some of the goes through some of the passageways, and they get into this room where it has pinball machines, dartboards, a pool table,
ping pong,
foosball,
a TV, a couch.
Oh, there's our couch for our therapy session.
Yeah.
Weight machines, jukeboxes,
a treadmill, free weights, like, dang. And Seth immediately goes over to the foosball table, Indians versus Cowboys. And Bracken's like, do you recognize this? And Seth's like, well, why do you ask? And he says, well, you went straight to it, and it just barely showed up. And Seth is like, I played foosball against the Sphinx on this table, or one just like it. So did Kendra. And Bracken explains that this room is our best evidence that the Sphinx knows we sneak around down here. In fact, with what you mentioned about the foosball table, we can consider it a certainty. He uses this room to incentivize good behavior. If we act up, things disappear. Sometimes the room is left empty. As we behave, items show up. It has never been openly acknowledged that this place exists. Welcome to the Dungeon Rec Room.
TV gets channels.
They have electricity. Yeah.
But do they have indoor plumbing?
I don't know. That's the real punishment. Indoor plumbing.
Like, seriously,
it's gonna be big.
I would not go back to my cell. I would just chill in here.
Did you hear my joke?
Well, I didn't hear it.
I said indoor plumbing. It's gonna be big. A little Hercules quote for you there.
I heard the tail end of it, but didn't process until you mentioned that it was a quote. All right.
Seth goes over to the pinball machine, and Bracken says, I have the high score on all the machines. So I think that's pretty funny.
And of course, Bracken's like, and Seth is saying, I'm going to take you down. And Bracken's like, good luck.
I'm playing for 40 years.
Which, I mean, is probably about as long as they've been existed.
Exactly, yes.
And also, he's a unicorn, which implies, and he says, good reflexes, which...
Enhanced reflexes.
You know that's what that means. Seth ran a hand along the pool table. If we start a riot, all of this will go away. Bracken crossed to a rack on the wall and selected a cue. This room will be empty for years, and they'll do their best to seal up as many passageways as they can find.
Do we have a chance of succeeding? Seth asked.
Not much, Bracken said, chalking the tip of his stick for playing pool. They didn't mention that they're going to play pool.
Yeah. And we should probably enjoy this room while we have it.
My sentiments exactly, Bracken said, sending a cue ball rocketing into the others.
So, that is the end of this section of chapters.
A heavy one.
Yeah, a lot. A good arc from this beginning to end. And the next set are very big. Mm-hmm. It's chapter 11 is Vanessa's secret. But
yeah, it only took a chapter between when she said,
yeah,
I can keep a secret too. Oh, by the way, here's the secret.
I'm not going to tell you yet.
Now I'll tell you.
30 pages later, here you go. But yeah.
Well, I mean, we're in the end game now, so
yeah,
got to put the cards
on
on the
table. We're about to start going full tilt down the rail. This is a good set of chapters. We finally met Bracken, as we've all been
waiting for.
We have been waiting for. And we'll never shut up about anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for.
Another Hamilton reference. All right.
We're always full.
But, yeah, these were a fun set of chapters.
Definitely.
Learned a lot. Talked a lot about the Sphinx. Very in-depth about his psyche, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, got Sphinx background, Bracken background,
We met Bracken and Nagi Luna. We got the Sphinx. Went back to talk to Patton.
Figured out where the fifth preserve is, as well as what the fifth artifact is.
So many things. Learned about the Eternals.
Even though that's very, very...
So many things. So yeah, the last secret is Vanessa's, basically. You want to take us out, Jessica?
With pleasure. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this section of our Knights of the Dawn podcast. We will be continuing with our next section of Keys to the Demon Prison shortly, so please make sure you stay tuned. You can find our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora. Are we on Pandora? I
think you're the only one that listens to Pandora, Jessica.
Yeah.
Do they have podcasts on Pandora?
I thought they did, but I don't use it for that.
I don't know.
Anyways, but yeah, so please feel free to continue supporting us. Feel free to leave a like or comment down below, or contact us at our email, knightsofthedawnpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, especially after the long rant we had earlier about the
realms of the rulers.
So yeah, if anybody has any thoughts on those, please send them our way. We'd be very curious to hear. Until next time, I'm Jessica.
I'm Megan.
Drink the milk.
See ya.